79T 2458 Learning Corp, Little Red Riding Hood, take one.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
Looky, fellas. Welcome. Good morning, couch, to you guys, too. Jeez. Can you believe it? It's been like 5-6 years. 6 years. A lot can happen. A lot has happened. And it's not just, like, I'm not just talking about with me here. It's about everything. Everybody, everything. It's, nothing happens, but it always seems to be moving. And it's kind of going to be a continuation of last episode. So I got a new mic. You let me know if the levels are too loud, if I'm clipping. I think I'm just hitting the red zone now, so I gotta be careful. Actually, what I might do is just turn it down. So I got great news for you guys, but I'll save that for a minute. But if you've been on the channel for a while, you'll probably already know we're gonna move that logo. Yeah. Sounds good. Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Shelling out the big bucks. What can I say? You guys have done some amazing super chats and just support on Patreon that over the years, and I always make an effort to, whenever possible, upgrade the studio to increase your guys' experience with the videos, with the podcast, with everything, and I'm just glad it's working out. So, I guess we'll start getting into it. If you look at the title, it's kind of a weird one. A lot can happen in 5 years. What the hell's he talking about? I mean, you guys kind of know this. I mean, I hope you do anyway. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you've followed anything I've talked about, anything that Rolo has talked about, you should be there yourself, whether it be, you know, your marriage is getting better, your relationship got better, you're single and you're starting to slay, you got divorced, sorted it out, move into jobs. Maybe even just you realize that Destiny was a weird cokehead and you just stop watching him. You're like, I'm going to watch this other guy who likes to take a dump on him. You know, metaphorically, not physically. I'm not into weird stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, the more they change, the more they stay the same. And that's kind of the point, is that a lot of things have changed. But a lot of things are, like, things don't change, but they do. So I'll start with a personal story. I'll give you guys an example here. Geez, when the hell did I join? I realize now I'm reaching that 10 years. Like, I think, yeah, this year, 2025, is my 10th year leaving the military. So I no longer get to say, oh, I'm a veteran. You get to become one of those, what do they call them, FUDs? Yeah, so I was in the military. It was fun. It was work hard. It was play hard. It looked like a career. I signed up a 19-year IE or an IPA. I can't remember what they call it. And had you told me then that you'd be writing a book, I'd have said you're an idiot. I go, shut up, whatever. I'm earning killer money. I'm earning like $80,000 a year deploying to the Middle East. This is fun. This is adventure. And then that kind of had its moment there. The Montreal reservist military and the espionage stuff, and that kind of went away. And all right, fine, fair enough, moving on. Got to corporate stuff, and I'm like, holy jeez, 80 grand. Why was I bragging about that? It's like 110, 120. This is awesome. Corporate stuff there, and then, you know, kudos to Toronto having the worst traffic in North America. Started to weigh down on me too, and I'm like, heck with that. And now we're here, and now we're there, and I'm like, holy jeez. Now that's just like, and the point here is, every 5 years, if you would have gone to me 5 years back and said, like, do you realize you'd probably be doing this? He'd probably call you an idiot. I don't even believe you. Like, you can't see the pathway there. So I'm like curious if you guys in the chat see that same thing. I'm going a little less structured on this one because I really do want to hear from the audience here. Oh, good. Oh, and I'm glad you like the new intro, by the way. Yeah, I've upgraded a little bit. I'm like, it's a lot's happened in 5 years, so why wouldn't we? Saxon Smith, $2 Australian super chat. Dad, here's some shekels for the mic. Thanks, Top G. Oh, appreciate it so much, Mr. Smith. Thanks, mate. Crikey. I don't know much Australian. I've been there. It's been a long time. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. At least I'm assuming so. I'm assuming New Zealand doesn't use the Australian one, so it's got to be Aussie. All right, Aussie, Aussie, hoi, hoi, hoi. Is that the thing? It's been a while. Yeah, 2-year cycles. I mean, any cycle. And that's the... And I realize, like, it's not everybody, but I like to think if any of the work I've done here has had any positive effect, it'll be a disordinate amount of people in this crowd. You know, velocity is the new survival skill. And just keep thinking back when I went to my 20-year high school reunion. It's the last time I think I'll ever go to my hometown. And I ran into my like grade 7 girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh, what's new?" And I was just curious. Like, it'd been 20 years. Surely you must have something you've done. And I kept pushing and pushing, and she just kind of sloughs it off. And then finally she just flips out at me. It's like, just so you know, Ryan, not all of us traveled around the world and shit. I moved over to there, and I had 2 kids, and then I'm like, oh, that's it. That's all she's done for 20 years. And I felt bad. But then I realized, like, it's all choices. Like, you could have left. Everybody could leave, and you kind of have to now. So this ties into the point about velocity. Every 5 years, technology upends something, which is like, it's not a usual thing. I mean, the plow lasted for like 1,000 years. Computers lasted 20. Internet was a good 10, 15, 20. And then all of a sudden, like rapid fire, social media, AI. Now, it's arguable how much of your life it's going to change and how much of it is marketing hype. But you have to admit, AI has changed the game at the very least. Every time you see somebody shitting on you in social media chat room somewhere, unless you physically know the person, there's a good chance that that's just a bot that's been made up, or an account from India. But I mean, can you really tell the difference? They both have the same like disjointed English. Yeah, never stop moving. So here's the thing. Adaptation is the new survival skill. Everybody thinks it's, oh, you gotta hoard ammo. Oh, you gotta make sure you have potable water. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's like, I don't think so. I think it's velocity. Drone warfare. Drone warfare has taught you, if nothing else, that your survivalist instinct, you're done. 500 drones, you can't out-survival that. You better hope you don't have a smoking habit. You better hope you have, like, thermal gear on your camouflage, which basically you're wearing a garbage bag out there, a metallic garbage bag, hoping that your heat signature doesn't give you away, praying that the drone's not dropping a load of thermite on you. Have you seen the stuff coming out of the Ukraine war? It's insane. There's drones dropping thermite onto female soldiers in trenches. Trench warfare in 2025. Who'da thunk? Absolutely amazing. You know what? That looks like it's clipping too much. I just get too excited. There, that'll be a bit better. I can still yell and cuss without that clipping banter. You know what I mean? So like, there's that avenue. There's politics. Like right now, had you told somebody 2 years ago, a year ago, that if you wanted to get into politics, you better be like pro-LGBT, pro this, pro that. Absolutely not. They are walking FBI agents out the door. They're like, you out of the building. Ban that guy from federal jobs. Take all their security clearance. Trump is going hog. Everybody over the last 4 years that have been beating him down, he kept a list. He was Steve Buscemi. Remember with the lipstick list of all the guys he wanted to murder in Billy Madison? Trump's got the list, man. Going full McCarthy on this. All these commies are gone. And they're getting booted. Redditors are like, how can I slough off it? How can I quiet quit so I can hurt Trump's presidency? Don't you work for the passport office? Don't these people need this? Yeah, but sticking it to those damn Republicans. You're like, so now who gets in? It's shit posting. The vice president is shit posting. The president's shit posting. Everybody's shit posting now. The F words, the slurs are back on the thing. Sam Hyde went from being canceled on Adult Swim to being one of the most like popular and influential alternate media figures out there. Never saw that coming. Andrew Tate is in jail again. Yeah. The tariffs just started today, if they're to be believed. So I don't know. And that's the other thing too. Canada. I mean, to be fair, Canada. I like talking about the American stuff because Canada stuff is just like a string of depressive incidents. It's not good, man. It's not good. We thought we were going to get a new prime minister, lowest things ever. They're ready to boot him out. They did some shenanigans and technically by the rules. He's still going to be here for another year, and the expectation is going to delay it for another one. He's using this tariff crisis to bring in literally the lizard people. You know how many you remember Zeitgeist? Remember that? Central bankers, fiat currency, the Egyptian gods, and you're like, oh my god, all this stuff's out to kill me. And they're like, hey, it's your new boss. You're like, Jesus, I'm now a subordinate of the lizard people. This is not good. So, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Personally, with these tariffs, I hope they hurt. Because, like, people don't learn except through pain. And I'm, being how I'm caught in, like, dead center of, what do they call it? Soy capital of Canada. I'm just like, I think people here need to hurt. Like, I'll be fine. I mean, I'll be okay. Everybody, like, nobody likes to lose money. Nobody likes to have currency devalued, but, you know, you do what you can. And that's the point of velocity and adaptation, right? So if they're going to try and Venezuelanize the currency here, switch it to US dollars. That should be, goes without saying. Invest your stuff in inflation-proof goods. Well, and that's, well, I mean, even then, real estate's such a weird bubble right now. It's like, that might not even be a good one. But there's others. Heck, technically the stock market, as long as you're in like blue collar type stocks, is an inflation proofed asset. So yeah, you're not making money, but you're definitely holding on to what you already have. The lesson about Trump is you do not mess with a real estate agent or a hotelier. I mean, when you host people in a hotel, you're going to know the guests more than you do. Yeah. Same thing for you guys. Like, there's a few of you guys I kind of know from Discord chats, from the Patreon and that, and I'm seeing your lives kind of take off and do their thing as well. And as far as I can tell, like, the acceleration has gone faster, but that's always a good thing, right? Yeah, you'll make mistakes, but the faster you make mistakes and move on, the better things are going to get. Things just change too fast. If you figured out in here, another example about fast moving things, you know, I'm talking about the AI and stuff. I go to Substack, and you look, there's lists of like the top 100 moneymakers on Substack, which, by the way, is actually a great platform. I actually like it. It reminds me of like the 2010s blogging, and I'm hoping it gets popular enough that we start getting more jacks and nukes and owning your shits and worst boyfriends evers. It'll be nice to see in 20 years that these are the Dalrocks, Chateau artistes. You know, looking forward to it. I'm only here in chat to call Baron a lawyer. Yeah, but if you look, the top one is a news aggregate. It's just an AI program that scours all the different news wires, takes all of the news articles, and summarizes them in a paragraph. Bam, 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 bam. World news. And they're making something like $250,000 a year off of that. And that's a technology that didn't exist a year back. It's absolutely crazy. It's like the Monty Python of the red pill with a Canadian twist. I like how you put that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We'll see. It's warming up. It's warming up in Canada, so we're probably going to switch over soon to back to the Hawaiians. The season of denim and Pink Panther sweaters might be over. I don't know. It's wild, and you can already see it. Like, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm getting long in the tooth. And I see in my age demographic who is like not stupid people, very switched on, they're good careers, families, that sort of thing. They're at that life stage now. And just getting left behind in this. And they were like switched on very easily to adaptable like 10 years ago. And now it's just kind of like, you know what's happening? Not really. Jeez, how come? You notice like I can't. And I kind of understand now why boomers keep thinking they're like 20 years in the past, like the way they do their politics, the way they do their finances and all that stuff. Like, dude, like the actual boomers right now are still spending money like it's the 80s. Like, good luck with that, sir. Good luck with that. Yeah, no, you are the AI. Well, thank you, AI, sir. Yeah. And then the bigger question is, like, from a red pill perspective, does this fit in to Rule 0, right? Is this positive male identity? Is this good male sexual strategy? I would argue it's, I mean, in the sense that earning more money and not getting canceled is, but it's, I mean, it's a bit of a stretch. Grant you that. Because there's a story, we found it out Friday. Another transition. Actually, you know what? If we're going to transition, you guys keep talking about the damn funniest member of Rule 0. Let's transition with that. Where in the hell did I put that damn thing? Oh, actually, you know what? No, different one. No, we're saving that. Yeah, we'll do the funniest member. Oh, there it is.
Hey, brother, who do you think is the funniest member of Rule Zero Squad? Now? What's your favorite comment joke of theirs? I think Ryan brings good laughs. He does. Ryan is like British humor. It's like Monty Python. And people are like, if you get it, you laugh your ass off. If you don't get it, you're like...
Fuck Ryan Stone.
People just don't get his humor. Who's the funniest one on there? You mean besides John Fitch? I think John Fitch is the funniest member of Rule Zero, but he's unintentionally funny. One of the robot dogs.
Seeing this robot dog in real life was pretty surreal and terrifying.
And Cappy's pretty funny. He can be pretty funny too. Who's the funniest member?
Okay, so the transition to this one. I was talking about him a bit on Friday, but I wanted to kind of give it a little bit more context today. So, as you guys know, I like Minecraft. I've always been a fan of it. I just like the idea of playing with Legos. I mean, Jack is in there too, right? So whatever. And there was this content creator. He's got about 1.5 million subscribers. He's a big deal. He's been around for a long time, like 17 years on the platform. His name's Iskal85. I'm assuming because his name is Iskal and he was born in 85. Call it a hunch. So he got canceled. You're like, what? Like canceled, or like he has a book coming out, like a conservative Con Inc. thing? No, I'm like legit canceled. It's pretty impressive. The most wholesome Minecraft multiplayer network of groups, like 26 member thing here. Guys are getting canceled in 2025. And I was just thinking, when we're thinking of like velocity and a lot can change in 5 years, like I thought that we were over this, but apparently we're not. Apparently we're not. If you'd have told me 5 years, the most wholesome Minecraft community that's managed to have 0 incidents of diddling kids or any of that stuff, any of like the Destiny nonsense or any degeneracy, you know, Family Guys doing their thing, had something like this, never would have known. Bobby Trauma, $2 super chat, coffee money. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. I actually do appreciate it. Thank you. We'll get another coffee. Found out if you get the fancy beans, it costs a little more, but you still save money on cheap McDonald's coffee. So yeah, you got canceled. So here I'm gonna go through the story and then a lot of what we talk about here and why it would have been important. Had he been red pilled, had he followed me or Rolo, he probably would have been a far better off. So the way I understand the story is this guy was on this big server, and rumor is he's dating one of the other members on the server, but he was being flirtatious in his Discord channel with one of the moderators. Of age person in their 20s, nothing like that. And he's a YouTuber that plays Minecraft, so there's a little bit of that social awkwardness in there. You kind of see it when he does his videos, which is fine. Then the moderator went and complained to a different member of the SMP, and then they riled up all the members of the SMP, and they invited him to his Inquisition. Now, the one thing he did that was smart, and I really do need to do like a whole episode deep dive into it, is Vox Day's Social Justice Warriors Always Lie. Like, it really is. It's not red-pilled per se, but it really is a seminal book for men. You really need to understand how to handle these kind of like personal attacks in the Me Too era. Even though we're kind of past it, I don't think we are. I don't think we are. At least not fully, depending on where you are. And where am I going with this one? Oh yeah. So first thing he did, as soon as they mentioned this, and you can tell it was a railroading, because they have members from Australia, Europe, Britain, America, Canada. Like it's a worldwide network. They said you have an hour. You have an hour to get over here. He's like, that's not enough time. We have like 15 time zones that we're all on. This is not. And so they realized, yeah, they were just setting him up to come in there and flagellate him and boot him from the thing and whatever. So he's like, he calls a lawyer. He lawyers up. Good for him. Calls the police, sets up a report, you know, just, I don't know what the charges are, but it doesn't really matter. The fact that he got legal advice, he covered his ass, and that was probably the smartest thing, because, like, you got to remember, in this situation, put yourself in, empathize here. You've been working with people for 10 years. You've been having a blast. You've devoted your whole life to this. You're building $250,000 a year empires, businesses, multiple businesses. You guys do collaborations. You've been to each other's house. You've hung out each other, shared hotel rooms while you're at conventions. You've been to Minecon as guest speakers. Like this is a big deal. And then all of a sudden, all of that disappears one day. And the reason I stick on this story is because I know exactly what he's feeling, man. I know exactly. I felt this exactly thing myself. Like, I'm not going to bring up my, oh, well, I had this. It's not about that, but I'm just saying, I get it. But he was at least smart enough to not, like, assume goodwill that once they flipped that switch, he had to flip the switch. And that's probably the smartest thing for him. And it's also one of the things out of Vox Day's Social Justice Warriors Always Lie, is that never do the hard work for them. Like, they wanted to bring him into this thing. They wanted to shame him. They wanted to attack him. They wanted to make him feel guilty and give up his own IP and his own money. And he just like, no, see you in court. So he's suing them. And I'm like, that's going to be awesome. I'm curious to see how it goes off on that. But yeah, because like, friends or not, when they pull stuff like this, you have to realize like it's not the case. And don't get me wrong, they Stalinized him. They did the full Stalin thing. He has been, like, any video where they did a collab together has been, like, removed from the other people's channels. His stuff is taken out of, they have, like, a plushie merch store. That was all removed. It's like they're airbrushing him out of photographs. Any reference to him is just gone. Actually kind of crazy. Yeah, still whoever the loudest wins. The one thing he did do, though, that I wouldn't suggest you guys do is, again, when I said before about doing hard work, don't let them do it. They told him that you were either showing up to this little inquisition or we're going to take action. And so he resigned, which I'm like, don't. Let them kick you out. Always let people kick you out. Don't ever do the hard work for them, because most people are just too passive. If you don't believe me, right now, and this is politics, but I promise you it's relevant. Liberal Party of Canada is trending at like 16% popularity or something like that. This is the lowest popularity they've had in the 125-year history of the party. It's at the point now that if the polls are to be believed, they would actually lose official party status because they won't be able to get more than like 5 seats out of the 330 ridings in Canada. 5. Like the far right-wing People's Party of Canada, the Green Party, like the French separatists can pull more than that. Something to think about. Exactly, they're treating him like he built a bunker, the Nazi bunker in the Minecraft server. Dude, that was such a funny story. I missed that one. Anyways, even with all this, he refused to step down. He refused to quit. He just kept doing his thing, and not a single person booted him out of the caucus. Not one. At any point, his entire party could just say, "You're gone. Kick out Justin. Put in somebody else." Don't. And that's the lesson. And as much as I dislike Trudeau with the fiery Thousand Suns, you gotta admit, that's a solid lesson for a man to learn. Don't quit. You make them fire you, because most people are pussies. So yeah, don't do that. Anyway, so I'm following that. I'm gonna kind of like sprinkle little updates in here for you on this, because I really do, like, these stories don't come around often. People getting legit canceled, not like, you know, Steven Crowder, where his wife puts him on blast and then they use that to leverage a brand new show that they're coming out with. Like, fuck that. Yeah, noted. Let them fire you. Absolutely let them fire you. I mean, from a legal perspective, depending on where you live, I don't know a lot of your laws in your countries, but I know in mine, if you quit, you're not eligible for employment insurance, or EI, or UI, what we used to call it. But if they fire you, you are. Which is another reason why companies don't want to fire you. They just want to make you quit. Because then they're off the hook for having to pay that EI that you put into in your payroll taxes. Put into that. They're trying to weasel out of it. Just saying, I don't agree with that Luigi kid, but I get it. Get it. And it's not an easy thing, too, when I'm talking about this, when you have to literally take relationships that'll be a sizable chunk of your adult life, like 10 years with people, and then you have to flip the switch and realize they are no longer acquaintances, friends, they are the enemy. That's not an easy ask of anybody. Most guys would rather suffer and self-flagellate than actually have to do a flip like that, turn sociopathic on a dime. But it's kind of one of those things that when it happens, like, you better be ready. Better be ready. And another thing I'll tell you, and this is a little more on the personal side. I was talking to the old lady about this. Like since mine happened, changed me. I don't know. Something snapped. And I don't mean like, oh, I've gone crazy in that, but it's just like definitely colder than I used to be. That seems to be like a permanent state. It's not really going away. Which kind of sucks, because then I realized like every guy, and it's not the same, and like, it's getting zeroed out. So any guy who's ever been zeroed out, there is a I don't know, there's a level of empathy or sympathy. I'm not even sure what the word I'm looking for is, that just disappears after that. I guess innocence and naivete, like beneficial naivete. And it really sucks to see, like I've lost it. I see other guys lose it, and it just sucks to see, because like they get happier, but and it would have been nice. It'd have been nice if everybody got to keep that little bit of like cheerfulness in them, you know? Free Gender, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. So is there a book on this? There is. It's from Vox Day. You guys remember the guy who created the socio-sexual marketplace hierarchies, the alpha, beta, sigma, like that guy. Actually is a good book though, so don't base it on like the sigma males. It's called Social Justice Warriors Always Lie. I think his name on the books is Vox Populi. I'd have to go check. It might be Vox Day. I can't remember which it is. You can't miss it. It's just got a big smiley face on it. What I like about it is it's really is good, because he's taken the early 2010s examples of all the big cancelings. Like, it was mostly in academia, Hollywood, stuff like that. I think it might have even been for Weinstein stuff. And he just kind of showed what they did that helped them, their careers and their lives and their personal lives, and also the things that didn't help them. And there's like a checklist of 10. I don't have the list memorized, but it's something like, the one I remember is bouncing the rubble. Bouncing the rubble and learn where your friends are. The bouncing the rubble one is just, is forcing people to, like, you make a big stir about it, and then you see what actions people take. Some people will, like, automatically, for clout, they'll jump right on you. Some people will have your back in a corner. Other people are fence sitters. They just sit there and say nothing, which, by the way, and he points out this too, that they're like the worst. Friends are good, enemies are good, it's the fence sitters, because the fence sitters are essentially enemies. They will drag their feet on anything that helps you. Oh, let's wait till all the facts are in. It's like, facts nothing, he's attacking me right now. Just remember, it's like that subway with Daniel Perry, is that the guy's name? It's like the subway with him. All of those all those people sitting there in that subway. Not a single person came to help him. Not a single person helped him in court. All of his military buddies disavowed him. He had to go this whole self-defense trial by himself. He got Rittenhouse. And all of those fence sitters were worse to him than the enemies. At least the enemies were just screeching retards, you know? But the ones that were just neutral, they were even worse. They just quietly let it all happen. Yeah, the wall stone. I guess George Bruno might have had a point. Having that wall up. You'll forgive me though you'll forgive me, sir, if my trust feels like not easily placed in the 2020s. If only there was some reason with some reinforcement events that happened that would convince me of that. Got the walls up. Alpha AK, $5 1 cent super chat. I get the whole getting colder thing. I just realize as it happens that I'm less likely to fuck myself over. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I talk about it like I'm losing, like you lose something, but it really is an adaptable thing. Like, it's good. Good. You don't get screwed over anymore. Which I guess, I mean, I can make a thing about delayed adolescence, and it really is like growing up is what makes you cynical and jaded, but I don't even want to say cynical and jaded because the coldness. Yeah, it's the one I always remember is Brett Kavanaugh, Real Man Tears versus Imitation Whammon Tears. Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it, too, though? Because the more successful you are, the more important that these skills become. Like, you really are required to take some kind of sociopathy certification in life if you want to be a famous person in anything that requires other people. Like, if you want to be famous in Hollywood, you better be ready because somebody's going to be doing some Me Too shit on you. If you want to be famous in Minecraft, you better expect that your Discord chat's going to have somebody in there ready to take you out. Oh yeah, back to the Iskall thing. This was the funniest part. So what he was finding out through his legal investigation is that the Discord mod that he had that started all this rigmarole, this isn't the first content creator that she had done it to either. So you see right there, Like, wow, it's kind of crazy how that happens. It's like one person manages to find everybody who's making these like uncomfortable situations. It's kind of another thing with the cult thing too, where it's like, yeah, if you want to hire somebody to work on your staff or all that, it's talking about that with Mish yesterday. Sometimes it's worth just talking to previous people. Hey, what was this one like? Oh, she accused somebody of this. She did this. She did this. And I know the female perspective is, well, they should never be like, you shouldn't have to punish people for that. It's like, no. I'm glad that she got justice served, but we're not taking on that risk, madam or sir or madam. Late adolescence equals arrested development. Good way of putting it. But that's where it does tie into Red Pill again, which is so funny. Bros before homes, but that's not the title of the article. The title of the article is, Are You Something? Are You Grown Up? I just pulled this up yesterday. How do I not remember? Damn it, I can't remember the title of it. It's something like Are You Mature or something like that. Anyways, it's a story about a guy who got a hit piece, sort of a hit piece, put out in the New York Post or something like that. He was a pharmacist earning 120 grand a year in, I think it was New York State. And he lived with his parents. He just traveled. He didn't really care. And then the almost middle-aged reporter was just bitching and moaning about he should have bought a home. He should have wanted a wife. He should have wanted a family and to settle down. Which his response is, why? You're giving me all these responsibilities that I don't want, and you're offering nothing in return, and you're telling me I need to work harder to earn them? Like, fuck you, lady. And that was kind of, and then Rolo's Red Pill point was on that, where it was delayed adolescence was what, was like the byproduct. That's how it comes up. If a guy has no incentive to mature past a certain life stage, why would he? Like, what's in it for me? And it's that self-interest, which is really, like, I enjoy it. I think it's great. I think more people need to get there. But it is just funny that as guys become more self-interested, it's almost a maturity devolution thing. And I don't want to say maturity like a good thing. It's just, phases are phases. I'm not saying you have to be advanced. You have to do this. It's like, no, it is what it is. You can't argue that zero responsibilities kind of is a delayed maturity compared to a lot of responsibility. Having said that, not being a plow horse is better than being a plow horse. Yeah, it reminds me of when people ask who hurt you, when you're being too cynical in their eyes. Yeah, and those, I mean, you gotta take those seriously too. Like, who hurt you? It's like, I don't know, you're kind of doing a good job of it now. Fucking feelings, madam. So I don't know how to bottle it up either. That's the other question. That's the other thing I would love to do. If I could have some kind of $397 course on how to flip that switch, how to become the self-interested bastard that gets what he wants in life, or at least doesn't fuck himself over, I would sell that in a heartbeat. I would MLD John a vaporwave video of me flinging nunchucks around in Japan. I would sell the shit out of it. I would show up every morning to bring you into that course, talk about today's lesson, but I can't. I know this. I've tried. Like, even just the simple Red Pill stuff, like my Patreon. If you guys don't know, I do a Patreon, and it's not just like a support trough, like help support the channel, which you are more than welcome to do, by the way. I'm not going to discourage you from helping the channel out here. Absolutely not. But it really is just a case where, and the purpose of it was I was watching the Married Red Pill. And when I was in there, the field reports were the field reports. Guys would write things down. They'd swap notes. They'd make their own entries. If they had like some theory, they could wrap around like a multitude of field reports. It was like a very studious place. It was almost like a subculture. And then it just hit a point where it hit peak popularity in 2015, 2016. And now it's kind of like guys just going through the motions, treating it like a coloring book, and it lost something. And so the idea with the Patreon is like, if I can gatekeep a space and capture that same level of enthusiasm and what's the word I'm looking for? Excellence, I guess. That level of excellence that it had before. I'd argue it makes it there. Unfortunately, it's very strongly gatekept, so you're free to check it out if you're into that kind of thing. It's mostly for married people doing the relationship side of it. I can do single. It's not the specialty though, but I mean, I'm competent enough to be able to talk about that one. But I mean, at the same problem, it's at the same point, it's just OODA loop. Well, it's not just. just this. This. 3 books later, I've almost described this. But it's good. It's like one of the more rewarding things too, is watching guys go from a shitty marriage, depressing situation, like borderline suicidal, to the point that, they like, I got this shit on lock. Now, it's not always, oh, I just got my newest Lamborghini. Sometimes the wins are just like, got to a level of acceptable I can live with, right? It's your choice if that's how you want to live. I'm not going to stop you against it, but just getting a guy there is great. Yeah, like Marty's saying here, in my case, is getting the wife goggles knocked off, the whole thing. Apex Cat, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Game. Girls met online with long trips coming. A friend says always means not int and never follow up, even if she makes time for the first date before. Apex, man. Thank you for the super chat. Could you just do me a favor and type that below, like, all the words? Because, like, I get you're using shorthand here. I know YouTube cuts you off there, but just, like, work with me, because I can't parse what you're trying to say here. And I want to. I just can't. Oh, here we go. Just been seeing an unbelievable spat of girls who have had these long trips coming up. So you try to play it smart and say, cool, let's just meet up when you get back from the trip, and then never hear anything. Oh, yeah, dude. I know it's unrelated, but a friend of mine said there's no way all these girls are always off on these trips all the time. You would be surprised, sir. You would be surprised. Because girls aren't out in the streets now. They aren't hanging out at the park. They aren't going to coffee shops anymore. It's kind of crazy. I mean, Toronto's a bad example, because anytime there is a citywide event, it just gets flooded with Indians, man. And the girls don't go out anymore. Even TikToks, like the progressive leftists, were like, what do you see here, guys? No, I'm not trying to say racism. What I'm trying to say is sexism. And I was like, oh, good. It's all right. We're not bigots. We're just hating men. It's like, yeah, with all the third world out there, women just aren't safe to go out in the street during events. So I wouldn't be surprised. Of course they're going to be traveling instead. What else are you going to do? You need to do something. And it's not like they care about debt. So yeah, it's very likely that they're always off on those trips all the time. Heck, most of the girls that I knew when I was working in financial regulation, like, I'd meet a lot of girls that working in the banks, and they all got, like, groomed, I guess, for lack of a better word, for director positions and above, because, like, everybody wants to hire women now, right? You'd even hear them, and it's, like, very obvious in the elevator talking about this stuff, the way it's like, yeah, I'm basically being coddled. Great. Book a vacation every 3 months to go off to some Caribbean island or do whatever, and it's just, can you blame them? They can't find a man to settle down and save them from their drudgery, and for them, money is just fun tokens. Of course they're going to go on vacation. So you do pronounce Toronto like a local. I guess so. I've only been here 7 years, though. That's the thing. I think 7. Moved here I moved to Toronto, or to Montreal, in 2011. And then I left the military in 2015. So it would have been 2016 when I moved to Toronto. Yeah, 8 years. 8 years. I guess I'm Toronto. I don't know. I've been all over the country. I'm one of those. I'm almost like a military Brit. I'm just nomadic. So, a friend says even if she is willing to set up a day before her trip, it still doesn't matter, because for her it's attention seeking. But in all cases, if she says she has a trip, it means she's not interested. Oh, you're talking about, like, yeah, excuse stuff. That's possible too. Girls never like saying no. They just like inferring no and making you take the logical leap, because they don't want to offend or anger, or, it's a safety thing. Yeah, it's fine too. And don't get me wrong, Apex, like, girls are going to reject you all the time. Like, not you because of you, but everybody. Girls have abundance. And they have abundance to a level that we'll never know. I remember, just like, and this is like a simple example to illustrate the point. When we were all still working together in that network in Florida that we shall not name again, AJ Cortez hit the first viral tweet out of the group. I don't remember what it was. It was just some nonsense. And he got like X amount of engagement. And then I remember the same day we looked over and just some random girl in a Starbucks apron had a little bit of cleavage showing, got the same amount. Just some random nobody. And it's just funny where it's like you can go viral as like a brand with already like 100,000 whatever he had. And you can just about get to the level of your average Starbucks barista. I guarantee you, Marty, you do not hear a little Quebec in Ryan's voice. There is no Quebec in this voice. I don't care about that fucking Provence. Oh, fuck that. Oink. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, this shit happens. And all you can do, Apex, is just not take it personally. Because, like, there's only so many plays. You can be offended, start negotiating desire, which won't work. You can play it cool, accept it with some grace, and there's always a chance they come back. Or they don't come back, you accept it with some grace, and then you at least walk away with some dignity. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's always been a slog. It's always going to be a slog. Meeting people when you're single, doing things when you're single, having girls who are like at the peak of their popularity, doing slutty thought things. I wish I could tell you a better story, but it's kind of one of those same reasons where guys that are longer in the tooth, they get that jaded moment. The wife goggles get slapped off their face, or their work charges them with espionage, or their Minecraft creator network cancels their $250,000 empire a year thing. Something will just happen that makes you a little colder to the world, and then you'll make less mistakes, and things will generally get better. I wish I could give you better news. Oh, it's just a positive attitude. It's like, no, it's not a positive attitude. Positive attitude, it makes you feel better, but it doesn't solve anything. Anyways, we're gonna pivot here. I know you hate this because I got some news. We got some new things coming up. Let's
Boom, what's up fam? Got some big news to share that unfortunately is not so good, so I'm gonna jump right into it. You're gonna watch this video and you're gonna cry. At least we can laugh at your eyes as you cry looking in the corner like a little f***ing girl in the fetal position.
So, what is today? Today is February 1st. Big things coming. Oh, let's do the super chat first, and then we'll get to this. Free Gender, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate all of the love and care. Not getting married and no kids, I'm more mature. Currently trying to get a 3-bedroom condo paid off in 5 to 7 years. I don't know if I could have done that with kids and a cash-sucking wife. I mean, I get what you're saying. There's the guarantee of it. And most guys have found that even high-earning wives, they're also high-spending. You have a wife earning $100,000 a year, but she spends $120,000 a year. You have a $20,000 a year, $20,000 a year expense. Oh yeah, but she's such a high earner. It's like, not really though. It doesn't really matter. Meanwhile, you got a guy that's earning $65,000 a year at his job. He spends $30,000 a year in his life. He's making $30,000 a year in extra. I know it's a simplistic example, but you get my point. How do you tell the trip stories apart? I don't know what that means. I don't know what a trip story is. Yeah. You're Free Gender, you're exactly like those Bros Before Homes guy, though. You know? Why? And I think this is something that people seem to miss. They always take the assumption that, well, guys want what I want. It's like, no, they don't. They don't care about any of this. Incentives. And arguably, any girl who would want to settle down and get knocked up by you, all that stuff, become your lifelong partner, love you forever, and kiss your feet, whatever. Where's her game? Is she making the case? Has any girl in your life made the attempt to try and lock you down that way? And if not, then you can't be surprised if you just decide not to. It's like, why? I always laugh at this one because there's always going to be like an MRA or a MGTOW guy arguing about never get married, never do this, never do that. And I'm like, first off, I'm not here to tell you what to do. Secondly, it's like, well, what do you want for? And I'm like, well, it's not my job to tell you why you want to settle down with a girl, why you maybe want to start a family. It's not my job. It's the girl's job. And if she's not convincing you, then fuck, don't. You know? You'll be just fine one way or the other. I don't need you to define things for me. Fuck that. Same thing. In a world of pimps and holes, be the pimp. I don't even want to make it sound like, and that's the other thing, I don't want to make it sound like it's some kind of yeah, fuck you, I'm getting mine. What color's you, Bugatti? I don't want to glamorize it. It just is. It's like gravity. And I find once you add that mundane description to it, things get so much better. Anyways, back to it. So, I took Fuck Files off the market in December. And I was going, and I've moved, I have a new pen name for the fiction books. R.A. Stone. The idea there is I'm switching over to fiction. And the first thing I did is I did the hardcover for Fuck Files, as well as added the redacted 13th chapter. If you guys don't remember, there's no 13th chapter in Fuck Files when you read it. I'm like, shit. And then I remember, oh, that's right, because I was going to put these things in there. They just never made it. And so I kind of like the idea, and I rolled with it as like a, oh, it's top secret. You can't talk about it. So I've added those in there. Hardcover, paperback. Trade paperback. So the old one was 6x9. These 5x8s, I love them so much better because they're handheld. Just fit them in there. It'll be good. The lesbian from Guam. There's now a second lesbian in the story. Can you believe that? A second lesbian. Fuck you, Brian McKnight. Still one of my favorite chapters. I don't think about it often because I wrote it back in 2020, but this is still to date the most popular book in the canon. I hope that Dogwalker takes it over, but anyways, you guys have been hounding me forever to do hardcovers. Amazon finally offered the thing. I finally did the work to get it in, so like thank you very much. It's out today. New one on Kindle, Kobo. Also, Kobo. You're like, what? Yeah, Kobo. Second. I can't believe there was like an entire market that I never dealt with. So I put it out there for the rare time that people got it. I still laugh, by the way, because I like the whole design of this one was based on my NATO stock number night orders book. This is my like journal for the Gulf. Like just been beat to shit. Beat to shit. Every note from sailing is in here. Everything. I go back in here, there's history. It's been had coffee spilled on it like multiple times. Yeah. I know it's interesting to see what life was like back in 2008 to 2013. Including a lot of the charge stuff was pretty neat. Anyways, as like big psyched, so get your copy if you can. It's going to be there for 2 weeks, and then Dogwalker is coming out. Oh God, I'm getting the people who I sent some advanced copies. So if you don't know, there's like 2 copies of it right now. There's this one, which is the author copy. That's like a proofing one. There's like minor technical changes that have to be done, and then there's like the proper copy. You notice the difference? Like yeah, bigger color. This is the official one, the one that you'll get if you order it in 2 weeks. But everybody who's been reading it is actually enjoying it. You've been here for a while. You understand all the red pill stuff, and picture them as themes in a book. But they're not like preachy. They're not beating you over the head. It's not like most books where you read where it's like a preacher on the mount telling you, and then hypergamy is this. No, it's just like, how does somebody live his life with these themes going through? Very subtle. And if you didn't know about them, you wouldn't even recognize them. Like, you won't recognize the terms. You might recognize it. People are kind of like, dude, did you mean? Yeah. All that stuff was meant to do that. BPD girlfriend. An actual archetype in there. Any fun forgotten stories in the Coffee Stain book? Well, there's a lot, but I'm not going to share those ones. Not going to share those ones. Some of the any ones that's worth sharing, I've probably shared already. But we'll see. I haven't gone through the whole thing yet. Apex Cat, $4.99 super chat. Yeah, but this friend says you quit as soon as you hear trip coming up. Feels like I'm selling myself short. He says cut all ties immediately. All right, look, I'm gonna pull my inner Rob says on this one. When you got these guys saying don't ever put up with this, just ditch the girl immediately. Shut up. Don't listen to him, Apex. There was like a day game charisma pickup artist account on Twitter did the exact same thing. He went on a date with some lawyer chick, and she was argumentative. She was annoying. She was kind of butchy, and he's like, "This is the first time you've been positive this whole time." And then as soon as he put her in her place, she kind of started making out with him, and he's like, "Ugh, I was so offended, I just couldn't take her home." And it's like, dude, if you're gonna ditch and cut a girl off every time they act out of pocket, you're gonna be single and lonely for a long time, man. Girls are gonna act out of pocket. That's all they know how to do. Because, like, Who's going to tell them otherwise? Their dad? Dad didn't say shit. Their ex-boyfriends? They're not going to say shit. The boss? Nobody's going to say shit. Nobody is correcting the behavior. So as far as they're concerned, and as far as everybody else is concerned, it's not bad behavior. Because everybody seems to let it slide. So, Apex Cat, another $4.99 super chat. Sorry for that out-of-turn question. YouTube logistics. Yes, I'm happy to pay for that. Oh, don't worry about it, Apex. Like I said, if you're willing to support the channel with super chats, I'm willing to take time out of the regularly scheduled programming to get there. The point is, yeah, you can't just ditch every time. Anytime any girl does anything that's not perfect, she's out of here. That's a coping strategy. That's a soothing. That's a salve. That's feeding your ego. It's like, oh, don't worry, man. You deserve better than that. Like, no, you don't. If you did, you'd have it. You eat what you hunt. So yeah, she acts really bitchy and just let it go. Whatever. Trip's coming up. All right, well, you have fun. Let me know when you get back. See. She'll call or she won't. But don't be like, don't just quit and hang up and block her and all the things. That's just bullshit. Leave her there. Because think of it this way. What are the odds? What are the odds? And this is like a very simplistic way of looking at it, but it'll get the point across. What are the odds that a girl goes on a trip, comes back, and picks up where she left off with you? 1 in 20? All right. You date 20 girls that go on trips. One of them's calling back. How many girls? If you do 20 girls a year, that's 1 girl a year extra. That's on your rotation now. Here it's 2. And that's just of those types. There's always the ones that aren't going on trips you can talk to, right? So it's like, why shut off your options when you don't have to? Why act super offended when a girl you barely know? Like, I'm assuming these aren't lifelong wives and children bearing women. These are just fucking women you met at the bar or on Tinder, right? Like, what level of fidelity do you expect from a girl you've met 2 weeks ago? Probably not much. So yeah. Trip coming up. And yeah, you're selling yourself short. You're cutting off options to make yourself feel better about yourself. That's like, who cares how you feel? You know what I mean? Another advantage of that coldness. You stop being so self-neurotic. Oh my god, this hurts my feelings. I gotta nuke this shit from orbit. I can't handle this. Who cares? And I get everybody gives Rob shit because he's got like, just fuck it and roll. Don't let shit slide. And it's like, yeah, of course. You fuck her a little more aggressively when she gets back if it hurt your feelings. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you feel. So hopefully that helps you with this one. Oh, look at that. Stripper's got a relevant post on it too. Exactly. Hate him a little. A little. That's all you need. Ned's on point with that one too. Detachment. Like, how attached should you be? I slept with a girl a couple times. We've known each other a couple weeks. How attached should you be? Good question to ask. It's something to think about. How attached should I be to this woman? You guys were sharing a mortgage payment, sharing a child, and yeah, we can make that case, but I mean, 2 weeks? Not paying rent? Done nothing but broken your favorite martini glass in the house? Doesn't know you shit. Anyways, back to this stuff. So yeah, I'm psyched. I'm proud. There's a couple things I've done that I think you guys, at least you types will appreciate it. So I was thinking about this too. So when I did the books, I made sure. See that? Titles line up, everything lines up. So any of the OCDs in here who hate how things weren't lining up, that has been solved. That will be there. Everything will line up. The 6x9s will line up. The 5x8s will line up. You don't have to worry about that. And like my original plan with Fuck Files was always to make it like a pulpy novel. I think I've really hit it. Like making that little bit smaller, I think made a big difference. It really did. But it's going to be good, and it's an enjoyable read. I give it shit because after I'm finished my books, I can't stand them. I always hate them after I'm done. I've read it so many fucking times. I'm sick of looking at it. After 5 years, I've actually gone back. I'm like, dude, I can actually appreciate. Like, it's not even it's not fiction. It's kind of like semi-non. It's infotainment, as opposed to Dog Walker, which is entertainment. Proper stories and that. So anyways, it's great. And now if you've had a Kobo this whole time, really annoyed that you had to that you didn't want to have to get a Kindle to read it, got it hooked up on Kobo now. Apparently that's like 20% of the book market out there is Kobos. The more you know. And then guess we'll do the US market one. And there you go for the American market. But you just put your country code in there; it all works fine. We fuck files. You got your paperback, you got your hardcover, you got your Kindle. I'm migrating the audiobook over. That's going to take a bit. So the audiobook is probably still underneath the old second edition title series. So we'll see. Free gender with another $2 super chat, sir. Why isn't common sense advice? Sounds like witchcraft. What? I don't know what why means, but isn't common sense advice sounds like witchcraft, yeah. What is this? What is this witchcraft? Get detached with a girl until she gives you a reason not to. And it really is just an incentive. And it was a theme actually from, oh no, it's in Praxeology Volume 3, that's right. In the Field Reports book. I have an old field report from my time back in the military I've added into there after some years, and like the big case I made was guys at the 21 con were asking me like, well, what's the what rite of passage should I do? What should I do to be a man? And I'm like, why are you asking? And I gave a very flippant answer. I'm like, just, cut out a heart here and eat the heart, and then you're a man, sir. And I kind of reflected back on my stepdad and his time, my dad's time, my time doing things. People I've met, Korean War vets, had a much harder life than I did. The dead that are in Osterbeek. And I realized a lot of it is just, pop yourself down somewhere and dare people to move you. That's really like the sex and violence thing. The fact that I just sat here and decided to become the red-pilled authority. Like there's Rolo and there's me when it comes to stuff to be taken seriously. I was nobody 6 years ago. 6 years ago, who the fuck is this guy? Even then at the speech, they were like, they were looking for my guest pass. I had to say, no, I'm actually going up. Like, when? Right now. Oh, you're Ryan. Okay, well, come on with me. Yeah. And all I did was put in a shit ton of work. Put in a shit ton of effort. Took it seriously. Worked at building business relationship with you guys in the chat. You guys are all wonderful, by the way. Even the ones that I shit on in here. Like, you have to remember, at least our banter is something better. Like, contributing something from a red pill perspective that's better than what other people are doing. Oh boy. We could have been yelling at chicks with White Claws. Think of that, right? Yeah, Rhodesian and trading. I thought you'd like that one. What can I say? What can I say? The Venezuelization of Canada has gotten to me. It's gotten to me. Right? But you see what I mean? Just plop yourself down somewhere. I decided to be that guy. I went in here. I did a bunch of work. For the large part, I'd say I became that guy. And I'm not gonna argue with like, well, this guy should be on the Mount Rushmore of like, it's not about that. So I'm like, plop myself here, dare people to. Everybody else I've seen in any of the channels and people in here that I talk to have done something. It's the same thing. Anybody who's achieved anything of note just plops themselves in space, works their ass off to like feel like they've earned it internally. I deserve this. I've done the work for it. And then just dared somebody else to challenge the spot. It's like, I dare you to move me out of here. And it's funny because nobody does. Didn't you just talk about the canceling and the Me Too stuff? It's like, yeah, that's different. The Iskal example there, he put himself there as like one of the biggest Minecraft YouTubers on YouTube. Just plopped himself there, started making things, didn't work. Now, once he got there, somebody did try to smooth him off of it, and he's going to plop himself on a different space and dare people to move him. To be fair, I bet you anything, this will probably be a good thing for his career. Like, he'll probably lose some money now that he's out of the Hermitcraft network, but I can see a lot of people, just for the pro Jared angle, probably becoming a huge fan of his work. Couch is getting soft now. Well, don't get me wrong. It's soft because I can't just sit here. I can't steal Clary's gimmick where I just yell at the Democrats for 2 hours. We don't want to do that. Yeah, hello, fellow comrades. I bring fa. Is that okay? Oh, it absolutely is. Earning it versus claiming it. Well, and I guess that's... So, Romanian... Andrew Tate's Romanian passport, you're not wrong. I guess that's the flip side of the coin. Like 48 Laws of Power, they always have the reciprocal. It's true. So the difference between just placing yourself somewhere and daring people to move you, earning it versus claiming it, there is a subtlety to it. Yes, plopping yourself somewhere, but like working to stay there as opposed to just plopping yourself somewhere and demanding everybody else appease. I'm God's greatest gift. You will love me. And then, because there's names you guys won't fucking know. Like, does anybody remember Corey Capella? Anybody remember that? Does anybody remember Glenn Lawrence? Anybody remember? There's some other names that you guys might not even remember. I can't remember anybody now. Christian McQueen. Or Steve McQueen? Christian McQueen? Fuck, I can't even remember. Like, do these names ring a bell to you guys? Do they? Some of you might remember, but most of you don't. And they did the same thing as me. They just plopped themselves down here and dared somebody to move them. The difference is, they didn't do anything when they got there. Okay, Christian McQueen didn't do anything. Kind of did their thing and faded off into irrelevancy. Yeah, the OG course guy. No, yeah, you're right. I assumed you guys were smart enough, Andrew Tate Passport, to know the difference. Oh, the Deaf Ninja. I forgot about that. Yeah, clown. Well, not just a clown, but he was also a bit of a cokehead. Which it was weird. The first time I saw that and he started tweaking, I was like, I recognize this. Stepdad was like that. I know exactly why he's like that. He's got a deviated septum. Calling it now. Yeah, everybody won't be the premier internet marketer and author 8 books. I can, but a lot of people hope to settle in a niche job, just raise a family. I'm not talking about being this. I'm talking about being something else. Like, be your thing. Be your thing. There's a million things out there. There is a million things that haven't just been invented. The start of the episode, I just talked about how things are moving very fast and a lot can happen in 5 years. There is a niche right now that's going to make millionaires in 5 years that we don't even know exists yet. Don't even know it exists yet. Think about that. One of you guys could be one of the OGs in there and then just decide one day, you know what? I'm taking this thing mainstream. Plop yourself down in a circle. Dare somebody to move you. Oh yeah, it came now. Bruno recently. Oh yeah, that. You know what? Heck with it. We're kind of talking serious and nostalgic. Let's throw a little bit of humor into this one. Where is that ball? I got too many ads now. It's hard finding everything. Oh, that's right, because it's Manosphere Mornings. There she is.
Ryan Stone, another
It is just,
Oh my god.
If you're a young man, you need to figure out what you're trying to do with your life, you need to subscribe to this goddamn channel.
What the fuck?
Megan Fox with a dick, or Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
You see that Waffle House there? There's murderers in there.
You have to conclude that Trump betrayed us.
socially retarded fat.
Seething.
Don't work with retard.
He's a halfway decent looking guy, a nice smile, can be a gentleman, snarky as even in person, yet he blocks me and talks shit about. Somebody find out their fucking real names for me.
Dude, how can you not love that guy? Who is this guy? Oh man. You know a video's good when the guy who made it still laughs at it after 50 watches. I remember, oh dude, there's a classic. I remember Corey Capella doing a receipts video where he showed a lot of badges, medals, and framed armed forces certificates on the wall. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I don't know how many of you guys are in the military. And those of you who are, or were, you let people know if I'm right. But there was always this thing I noticed, where a certain type of sailor who had his wall of accoutrement, all his awards, his basic training certificate, shaking hands with the admiral, the governor general, stuff like that. And they'd have a big wall of it and trophies and all their certifications. And I found the bigger that wall was, the more of a piece of shit the guy was to work with. The biggest one was this guy, Kraus. Remember Kraus? Big fat dude, too. Comes to me one day with this big pouty face on. He's like, hey, man, you don't think I'm overweight? I'm like, yeah, you're fat. He goes, yeah, but my arms are big at least. And then my buddy chimes in, yeah, your arms are fat too. But he would always skate out of work. He'd like fake injuries. He ended up getting promoted, screwing over a bunch of people. Huge wall of like accommodations and shit like that. Yeah, the lifer types. So it's just one of those things. It's kind of like when you see the kid who's wearing his dog tags into the bar, you're like, oh yeah. He'll be trouble. Just mention his boss and he'll shut the fuck up. And that was always the funniest thing because most of the bouncers in the bars and the clubs where I was at were like moonlighting. A lot of them were like naval communicators. So they're like buddies of mine, people I work with, right? So I'd always get VIP and everywhere. It was always good for like a social bump. And then every now and then some like guys are starting trouble. Yeah, woo-ah, military motherfucker. Really cool. What do you trade you in? You're like, I'm a DSOP. You're like, oh, so you know such and such, huh? That's my teacher. Oh, cool. And then you just walk away and then let them stew on that. Calms them right the fuck down, too. You text them, hey, one of your students is acting out of pocket in here. Word travels back before it even gets in there. It was great times, man. Great times. It's a great point about change in 5 years. Success always starts with a mental point of origin. Looking forward to the hardcover fuck files. Oh, dude, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it, especially the redacted stuff. So I'm not just like repackaging it. I've added more to it. I might even just do that as time goes on. Just keep adding to the books and making them bigger and bigger and better as we move on. I know we'll see. But I kind of like where it's at now. I think it's a product of its time. I like that I took my own face off of the cover too, because I didn't want it, because I realized like now that I have the gift of hindsight, most people's first book is always like a memoir. And I was just like, who the fuck am I to have a memoir? You know? Obama, yeah, he gets a memoir. Hillary Clinton, sure. But like, you know, me? Oh. Byron? Memoir. You've been internet famous for 2 years. Sit the fuck down. So yeah, making this about like the situations and the entertainment value of it, I think it's a good switch to it. Anyways, it's good. I can't wait, by the way, for hardcover this to come in. It's all different art, which, by the way, shout out to Ray. Look at that. Oh wait, there. That's the hardcover art. He actually sent me the originals, which is so sweet, man. Like I had him commission 4 of them for me. 2 of them are going to be for the new book, which I don't have. My working title for now is Down and Out in New Kowloon. So he's made me cover art for all of them and sent me all of his originals, which I'm probably going to frame. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. They're still curved. They just came in the tube. You might recognize this one. Looks familiar. And the second one. This is actually what spawned... Yeah. So this is what spawned the whole idea for that book. I know, okay, we're off topic. Bear with. A YouTuber named Ryan Stone has a memoir coming out. Yeah, I saw this meme. It was based on the Ukrainian war, and they were like drones were the big thing. And there was a meme of the camouflage in the 2025 Ukraine war is going to be stuff that throws off AI, and it would show like somebody dressed in tactical gear with a gun, and it would have 4 drones shooting at him with a big X through it, and then with a check mark, it'd be a guy dressed up in a banana costume, and his gun was dressed up to look like a Minecraft pick, and the drones would just be all confused with question marks above their head, and I was like, dude, that's such a cyberpunk thing. The idea that in war, the newest camouflage is like dressing up in Halloween costumes. And so I got him to do that. I'm like, yeah, that'll be great. And so that was kind of like the starting point, which got it there. And there's been some excerpts out already. They're on the Substack. Again, I think you guys will like that. I try to do the same thing too, because I realized like, yeah, all the settings, the cyberpunk, high-tech, low-life stuff, it's fun. But if it doesn't have a compelling story behind it, nobody's going to care. It's just going to be world building. And I absolutely hate books that just take all their time to show off how cool their world is. No, you want to build a good story. The world should like complement it. It shouldn't be a character. So it's a lot of like red pill themes. In this one, it's a guy who's basically in the longhouse, and his effort to be free is what drags him through this thing. And I'm like, well, cyberpunk is high tech, low life. So how can we take the longhouse and make that a cyberpunk idea? And I was like, oh, dude, I got an idea. Like, having the babies has to be through IVF, and the doctors forbid guys from sleeping with their wives. So essentially, it's like test tube babies. But guys get to have the impression that they're doing the work when they're really not. Like, you can't sleep with your wife. She's trying to get pregnant. Crazy. Everything's an ad. Like, if you want to open your door, you tap your phone into it, but then it gives you a 30-second unskippable ad before you can open the door. Go into the bathroom is ads. And I was just like, the idea of everything having this drag to it. The highest tech you've ever seen. Your phone controls everything in your house, but like the advertising stuff just makes it like the lowest life, or your job has like femlaw in it. So there's like Me Too canceling thing. Just take it and just like add 10% to it. That's the funniest part, man. I didn't have to add much. Like I just took the things that we have right now, added 10% to them, 10% more. And then all of a sudden you look at it like, oh my God, this is a bleak dystopian world. And I was like, oh dude, that's going to be awesome. And then how does a guy get through that when he's been raised longhoused? There's like so many little things too, where like the kids, like you pick their genders when they're 5. So for the first 4 years, they're put on some like weird hormone regimens, and it has an effect on adults. So you can tell people that are from, I call them Stockholms, like Stockholm syndrome, as opposed to Kowloons or cowboys, which are ones that are raised naturally. So like there's no freckles, your skin's been totally plastified, your bones are very small and brittle and weak because, you know, you've had your growth plates have been closed off early because you don't want to be taller than women, so it would make you look bad. Women tend to be more masculine with butch hands, and so like the Kowlooners, like you can always tell if it's a girl, she has big boobs and dainty hands. You're like, oh, that's one of those natural born ones, like a Gattaca thing. And then I take all of these archetypes, all these stereotypes, all of these like horrific things that we think of that happen now, multiplied by 10%. And I'm like, how would they interact for a compelling story? And that's the putting through together of this. So again, it's still red pilled, but it's not preachy. It's not in your face. It's not a treaty on what men will do. It's not like that stupid utopia mouse thing, or like no, why don't you just do this stuff for guys who already know what the fuck they're doing? They've already read Glover. They've already read Rational Male. They already know this stuff. They don't need to be preached to again. They don't need reinforcement. They're confident enough. God knows half of you guys have done shit with your life that you should be proud of right now. Absolutely. 5 years is a long time. So how about give him something that he can enjoy? Because, dude, I've done research. I've looked. There is nothing, almost nothing good to read right now. I've made the effort, and most of it is bad. Even some of the stuff they're calling like the new right-wing authors. There's some good ones, and there's a lot of bad ones. But like that's why I'll still cheerlead Devin Erickson's Theft of Fire, Delicious Tacos, all of his ones. But for now, finally, some good news is absolutely the one I'll cheerlead on there. I know a lot of people don't like Teach's Sadly Porn, but I enjoy it. I actually found it to be a good book. It's very Last Psychiatrist-ish. I mean, it sucks that he sneaks cuck porn in there and you don't notice you're reading it until like a chapter in. You're like, what the hell? How'd you sneak it? And it was like a whole chapter of that, and you're like, why'd you sneak that in there? And he's like, you see? It's to make a point later on. Or, I mean, you got Bronze Age Pervert with his books in there. New one. I want to get his name. Isaac. Calrathia? Damn it. I don't want to mispronounce it, because he sent me an advance copy. It was actually pretty slick. I was reading through. And that's always the problem with medieval stuff. It's always hard to pronounce. There we go. The Domes of Calrathia. So he did like a Kickstarter campaign. His name's Isaac Young, and he was writing it. It's kind of one of those, it's not a heist story. It's like a fetch quest, like a journey one. He lost his accreditation in his thing, and he has to make a journey to the place with the thing. Like MacGuffin stuff. Anyways, it's pretty interesting, and I was like, considering I tried reading a bunch of fantasy stuff that was out there, and it was just driving me nuts. And he does a far better job of referencing the world as opposed to world building, specifically, like exposition dumps. And I'm like, oh, I think he's coming out soon. That'll be pretty good. Here, I'll throw his tweet on here. You guys check it out for yourself if you're into that anyway. It's not my genre. I'm not actually a fan of fantasy. Like Dune and Lord of the Rings, I think, are all I've read in the genre. But I can see if you're into that genre, you'd probably like it. Especially since right now, you know, like the top 10 is like the Ready Player One shit, and then tabletop RPG literature. They literally put like their D&D stats in like a page of the book, and it's just like reading somebody doing a D&D campaign. It's fucking weird. Oh, super chat. 1 sec. Almost. Oh, I probably blasted your ears. My bad, guys. Andrew Tate's Romanian passport, $5, 1 cent super chat, is a part of becoming more cynical, cold, completely rejecting shoulds, oughts. I would say reject them if they don't benefit you. say it's definitely a part of it. Because shoulds and oughts, morality is something we made up. For the most part, it's something we made up. Yes, there's certain things that, from an evolved standpoint, if you act as if they're true, you tend to do better. But we still make it up. The whole idea of murder being wrong. Who says murder's wrong? We have all kinds of reasons we murder, but as a general principle, we say murder is wrong because tribes that have a lot of intertribal murder don't do well. Ones that have a lot of intergroup trust do well. So as generations go, we kind of have that initial don't murder each other. And then, I don't want to say our genes adapt, but we kind of adapt to it. Whether it's genetics, genetics, whatever. Comes through and it's better. But again, it's just something we made up. So yeah, when you hear shoulds and oughts, that's somebody who's making up something that they want you to do. Realize like, well, you should do this. Should I? Why? And that's it. That's the funniest thing. It's never just outright rejecting or completely rejecting shoulds and oughts. It's just asking one simple question. What's in it for me? Why should I? Nobody ever answers. The only examples they have are shame. Because you're not a good boy if you don't do that. It's like, fuck you. Oh, I'm doing just fine where I am. If you want me to should, if you want to ought, give me a good reason. At the very least, the law makes sense. Do it, or you're going to jail. Fair point. I will not commit tax evasion. Sorry, Tim Pool. Yeah, a question's been brewing in chat about a professional promotion if you're not married. Not sure what kind of question that would be. If it's brewing, they're more than happy to throw a super chat, get it in there. But yeah, no, I enjoy this because it's so a lot can happen in 5 years. It's kind of getting back to that and why I've been talking about the fiction stuff all the time here. You got to think about it. Like, what else is there? There's nothing that's been new for the Red Pill since 2015. I'm not single gallivanting around doing single stuff, so I have nothing more to contribute other than just the stuff that's already been there and stuff from my old experience. The stuff that's changed, I mean, Nuke's doing his thing on there, Jack's doing his thing on there, but for the most part, it's just like, it's an updated version. It's the third edition of the game that's worked for hundreds of years, right? Same game, couple updates. Instead of putting a number in your flip phone, you're putting it in your smartphone, or you're scanning a WhatsApp QR code or a Snapchat QR. That's the difference. But these aren't fundamental changes. These are just like technical changes. So what else is there to say? Well, there's the Red Pill stuff, but I mean, is there really much more to say? Kind of everything. Almost everything has been addressed. Mercenary attitudes in the workplace. Being in adversarial co-ed environments. The male social matrix, the female social matrix. The gynocentric social order, feminine primary social order. Frame, red. All these concepts kind of cover the gamut. So what's left? It's going to be like Muscle and Fitness magazine. Every month, another 6-minute ab workout that'll get you those shredded cannonball delts. Yeah, we could go that route. That's an option, but or you can always try something new because then you become hooked on. That's it. Just talking about the Red Pill stuff is all we're ever going to do. Like, think about it this way. Imagine Stefan Molyneux. Remember his whole Free Domain Radio, this is not an argument, the egg cartons. Imagine if somebody had been like hyper focused and that was all they did and they just kept recycling it and then put him in 2025 social media landscape. Just gets trounced. So far behind. Nothing there. Has to advance, have to adapt. Even Myron, he can't just have a White Claw and kick a chick off his podcast anymore. He needs to bring ratchet ass hoes. They need to bring guns onto set. He's got to start ranting about the Jews, which, by the way, off topic, nothing makes me laugh more than them sitting there having their like anti-Semitic rants about how the Jews are taking everything, and then going to some Daily Wire meetup and taking pictures with Brett Cooper and Ben Shapiro. So like, that should let you know right there. Oh, that's weird. Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior are having a beer together at the bar? I thought they hated each other. Yeah, you'd think, didn't you? Whatever happened to the autistic girl who burps? I don't know who that is. I really don't know who that is. Yeah, chin up, defend, excuse, explain, rationalize. Oh, Jesus Christ. Nick's in the chat. Now I gotta make some references from the 70s so he's entertained. A lot can happen in 5 years. Sounds like the title of a delicious tacos novel. Yeah, but he went the fantastical route with like Savage Spear of the Unicorn, which I'm assuming is a dick reference, same as like, and now for some good news, the nuke was a dick reference, right? Yeah, there's a lot of strange characters, and that's the thing. Strange doesn't necessarily mean entertaining. Like, it drives me nuts. I don't even watch stuff in my own niche. You'd think there'd be some interest there, but there's not, because I don't find any of it entertaining. Like, I'll watch Clary when he does his little rants, because those are fun. I watch Rolo occasionally when I can for Access Vegas or his Sunday one. I guess Dave's not really in this space. Dave's like Scarred Thumb podcast. You guys might know that's a gaming one. It's on Sundays. I think he's in here as Scarred Thumb. 1 second, let me check. Does it do the autocorrect? No, it doesn't fill in. All right, so if somebody has the @ for Dave's Scarred Thumb account, please put that in the chat, one of you mods there. Like, I really do want to get him some love. I kind of like it because I can't catch everyone, but the ones I do catch at least gets me caught up on what's going on in an industry. It's like trade industry stuff, but it's not crappy. It's just very simple. Hey, by the way, these are some changes making. Blizzard's having layoffs. These guys are going here. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Prom, a shit show, it'll always be a shit show. I agree with that. It's always going to be unattractive. It's always going to be a shit show. That's fine. Like, is it too much to ask to be, like, entertaining, though? Like, at least Myron with his little minstrel show that he does, at least I get, like, I don't find it entertaining, but I get why others do. Tate with his little wrestling promos, I don't find it entertaining, but I get why others do. But there's a lot of people, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? This is like the least charismatic thing I've ever seen. Even me, when I'm saying the most cynical, jaded stuff, at least show a little teeth. Show like I'm having fun. Try to have some fun with me. Jesus Christ. No, they're just yelling into the microphone about debates. Apex Cat, $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Friend said, you ain't gonna be one of those sociopaths under the Venkatesh Rao system because you're not married. Only the top guys are married and sociopaths. Oh. God, that's so weird. So you're Apex, I'm assuming your friend is just a euphemism you're saying because you just want to use these to ping off. Because if you actually have a friend who's been telling you the stuff that he's been telling you in all these super chats, gotta ditch him, man. You gotta ditch him because he's not helpful. Sociopath's not a goal. Sociopath is a tool. You know what I mean? You're not married. Only the top guys are sociopaths and also married. Maybe. Are you trying to be a top guy, though? A top guy in what? Top guy in everything? No such thing. It doesn't exist. It's just an archetype. I want to be top tier. Sigma male. What? You're working at like one of the banks in Canada? Want to be a director. All right, that makes sense. Do you have to be a sociopath? Technically, no. You just really have to be liked by the senior directors. And so they're willing to promote you into that spot. And to be like a protected category. And for no reason, just let it all crumble and alienate my neighborhood. Apex, man, you're losing me. I know you're trying to make a point, but I don't understand. Like, you're going way over the top and autistic. Venkatesh Rao doesn't have a system, though. You're talking about his book, Be Slightly Evil, which is just his way of showing you ways to frame everyday life situations under, like, how would a sociopath react to this? Why would a sociopath do it that way? In order to have you make better decisions that allows you not to be screwed over. You know? It's no different than David Dutton's Wisdom of Psychopath. It's not a system. You're not sitting there learning how to be a better, like a murderer. Like, no. He's just showing you certain things like why psychopaths don't get stressed over situations. Oh, it's because they aren't thinking about the future consequences. They're focused on what's happening right now. Well, that's a good skill that I could learn. If I'm too neurotic, always thinking about what could happen in the future, be more present focused. What's going on right now? Don't worry about the future tense. How much? If I do that, and then I never think of the future and I just YOLO. It's like, don't listen like a spurg. You know what I mean? Drew, that weirdo won't stop making fake accounts on my channel. You got him too? Oh, it sucks, man. I mean, if this is that guy... Oh, never mind. That's fake Drew anyway. Tisk tisk. Anyways, gonna do another ad here. Lighten things up. Did I already do that one? Sorry, I'm looking for the new one. I have way too many. Frame. Jesus. Did I already do the funniest?
Hey, brother, who do you think is the funniest member of Rule Zero Squad? Now, what's your favorite comment joke of theirs? I think Ryan brings good laughs. He does. Ryan is like British humor. It's like Monty Python. And people are like, if you get it, you laugh your ass off. If you don't get it, you're like,
Spot Ryan Stone.
people just don't get his humor. Who's the funniest one on there? You mean besides John Fitch? I think John Fitch is the funniest member of Rule Zero, but he's unintentionally funny. One of the robot dogs.
Seeing this robot dog in real life was pretty surreal and terrible.
Yeah, Cappy's pretty funny. It can be pretty funny too. Who's the funniest member?
Oh, I didn't add it onto here yet. That's why it's missing. All right, here I got books to sell. Give me a second. Field reports. Yeah, it's not on here yet. All right. How professional. He's adding his videos as we speak. Yes, I am. Don't stress. It'll be fun. We still get to have our funniness. Some of the stuff I have in here, I don't know why I have. I have like an old news, like 3-hour news reel from 1982 about the Rhodesian Bush War. Like, why do I have this? What's the purpose of it? I know there was probably some creativity I was thinking of, but I don't know. There she is. All right.
It's been a long journey. You've watched the Red Pill go from a nice internet space where guys talked openly and honestly to a clown show of White Claws, Bugattis, human trafficking, and yelling at OnlyFans girls for clout. These are the stories of the good times. The church failed to help. Family failed to help. Feminism had 3 generations and failed miserably. Men do what men gotta do. We get together and do it ourselves. These are our stories.
Ryan Stone, another fucking fact.
Praxeology, Volume 3, on Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook.
Who is this guy?
How could you not enjoy that stuff, man? How could you not? What's next for Orion? I think actually, so I've been trying a few things and some just aren't working. By the way, 6-String Samurai, nobody gives a about that, which sucks. The Tom Berenger movie Sniper, I think, is going to be next on the docket, but we'll see. Yeah, by the way, that's Praxeology Volume 3. That came out on Christmas. That one's pure, like, information stuff. It's like a Reader's Digest of field reports from guys. Stuff that wasn't quite enough on its own. Not enough on its own to make a book like Dread or Frame, but they kind of deserve their own thing. Like, people should be looking at these, seeing how they reflect and how they affect their lives and stuff like that. So I've made it into, it's going to be a 2-part anthology. So Prax Volume 3, and then in the summer there's going to be a Prax Volume 4 coming out. The audiobook, by the way, I just finished the recording yesterday, and the mastering is just finished. I just have to split it up into its pieces and get it out there. So if you're interested in it, but you don't want to read it, I will read it to you. Don't worry about that. It's a small effort, Crom. So it'll be good. It's always going to be so busy. I haven't watched Rule Zero in forever. I mean, it comes and goes. I'm actually surprised you guys are still here. I mean, it's kind of because I'm evolving as we do it too. Because let's face it, if we looked at the first couple episodes, it was very technical, red-pilled. Like, we're talking about nice guys today. We're talking about assertive Bill of Rights today, and we've kind of advanced past that. Now we're talking about enjoyment, entertainment, carving out a little bit of fun in your business. Why being a sociopath is one of those things that kind of evolves over time, but you shouldn't try to sociopath max things. It's kind of ridiculous. Lid shoutouts. That's the one thing too. I wish more artists did this, but they don't. They don't give shoutouts to like talented people that they've kind of seen coming up. Other niches. Like Isaac Young. I really do think if you're a fiction fan, you would like his book. You really would. Because I remember outside of the tabletop RPG stuff, there was another fantasy book. It was like top 10 in Amazon. And the first thing that happened, it was an HR meeting. between like the main character and some band of wizards or something like that. Oh, I didn't mean to get your pronoun. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why would I want to read this? Like, why don't I encourage people to read things that don't treat them like they're stupid? I mean, it's better than good. It's good enough. That's always the goal, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to show you new stuff from guys like me who have been around for less than 10 years and have it be the best thing you've ever written. But it's good enough. It's like the old Hardy Boys. Remember Hardy Boys? Any of you guys read those in elementary school where it was just fun? You read it. It was good. Good enough. It's popcorn movies. It's, oh, I watched the new Deadpool. It was great. Was it the greatest movie ever? No, but for 90 minutes, I had a good time. Like, how much more can you ask for right now? Do I need Avengers Endgame right now? It's like, no. Just give me a fun 90 minutes. You know? And that's why, even though nobody liked Six String Samurai, it at least captures the vibe that I'm trying to impart on you guys now. Because let's face it, a lot can happen in 5 years. I'll just go show the ad and then I'll get into the rant. I'm gonna show the commercial. You know what I mean?
Nice tuxedo. Nice tuxedo to die in.
Have you ever wanted to watch Buddy Holly and Slash have a kung fu rock battle for the fate of humanity? Have you watched Mad Max or Fist of the North Star and thought, why can't this have more electric guitars? Have you ever wanted to see the mashup of genres taken to the extreme? Red Dawn meets Top Secret, meets a spaghetti western meets Mad Max meets Streets of Fire meets Buckaroo Banzai, and The Eighth Dimension meets King of the Kickboxers? Well, I have the story for you. In the age after the fall of Hong Kong to those damned filthy pink communists, a man, groomed for greatness by Jackie Chan himself, made one last love story to Hong Kong cinema with Americana stylings before riding off into the sunset with his gonzo director best friend, a silent protagonist in a world. Post-nuclear apocalypse teams up with an orphan boy on a quest to reach Las Vegas and succeed Elvis as the next king of Las Vegas. They are hounded by cannibals, wasteland bandits, bounty hunters, fellow guitarist samurai, the Red Army, and even Death himself, with only a katana, a hollow body rockabilly guitar, and the way of the samurai to overcome the odds. It's a labor of love. Hong Kong-trained American actor Jeffrey Falcon, longtime friend Lance Mungia put together the craziest mashup of genres since Buckaroo Banzai in this action-adventure comedy cult classic with a shoestring budget. These people squeezed blood out of a stone, then made it rock. It's not the greatest apocalyptic film, it's not the greatest rock film, it's not the greatest action-adventure comedy, it's not the greatest kung fu film, and it's not the greatest homage to Americana, but it is the greatest apocalyptic action-adventure comedy kung fu rock homage to Americana in history. It's Buckaroo Banzai for millennials, the little samurai that could, and 90 minutes of a good time. It's Six String Samurai, 1997.
I like that. I see in chat, no one in this generation has any idea what this is. I'm like, you do now. You do now. And I think there's like a huge demand for it. Huge. Because like Fallout. Remember the new Fallout series? Everybody loves that thing. They think it's the greatest thing ever. And that is in the same thread as the new Fallout one. Stuff that's just competently executed, fun, lighthearted. And there's like a level of like not autism you have to develop to enjoy it. So case in point. Remember the scene there where Slash, who plays Death in that one, is playing his Fender Strat, heavy metal, and then the Archtop Buddy Holly character is playing where they're both playing it, like they're not plugged into amplifiers. Why can I hear the music? It's like, yeah, that's a suspension of disbelief thing. If you're willing to do that on stuff, you're actually able to enjoy these things. It's like you'll fill in the gaps. And I find the more that stuff lets you fill in the gaps, the less it takes you for granted, and the smarter and more sophisticated an audience member it treats you like. And I think people have been belittled and treated like children for so long in movies and books and films, and even just ranting into the fucking camera on YouTube. Have been doing it for so long that when something treats you like an adult, it's just a breath of fresh air, man. Just look. I don't know a lot of you guys. I know Drew, like actual Drew, not fake Drew, has been just crushing it with his business. Jack's been crushing on his. Nuke's been crushing on his. Some of you guys in your own professional lives, absolutely crushing it. Is it so much to ask? Is it so much to ask? When I sit down at the end of the day and I want to enjoy something, I want to just turn my brain off and enjoy something, that it's not some kind of slop that treats me like a fucking asshole. That's so much to ask. I worked at Blockbuster, never heard of this. It doesn't happen often. Well done. Well, the reason I heard of that one is because it came from, this is going to be such a weird thing. Does anybody remember the old, like, 12 CDs for a penny? Those little ads? Where you'd pay a penny, you'd get 12 of the newest CDs, and then you'd have a monthly subscription service where you pay them like $20 and they'll send you a new CD of an artist you maybe have never heard of. Those used to be all the rage in like the 90s, pre-internet. And my buddy, I was in college at the time, in the late 90s, early 2000s, before I was in the military, where he had an anime manga. Oh, dude, if you get a chance, if you don't know about this, go and look up Cam FDM Ultra manga. I think that was it. It was an advertisement for it. Anyways, it showed off like Street Fighter the movie. 16 Stramoi was one of the, and it was like Anime of the Month Club. Like, what? Like, yeah. Back before it was just like a giant list on your streaming service. It was just like, hey, here's one you haven't heard of. Like, holy shit. MacGyver, Akira. 16 Stramoi was on that list too. And it was just weird. So like, why did they have a real life one on it? They sent it there. We watched it like, oh my God, this is actually fun. Yeah, Columbia House. That's what they were called. I haven't said anything about the Rodigi yet. I'll end off on that. It's kind of a depressing one. Kind of a depressing one. What's up, Travolta? What's up, Chris? Yeah, it's just, there's so many things out there. We've had 120 years of cinema. We've had 1,000 years of books. There's so many things that are just fun, enjoyable, and entertaining. I really want to pass that on to guys. But I didn't want to start that way, because if I start that way, you don't want to be the guy who's just jerking off in his living room, looking for different ways to stave off the pain and entertainment. No, I want people to have their shit together. I want them to have enjoyable lives. Positive male identity. Male sexual strategy. God knows, a lot can happen in 5 years, and we've crossed every bridge when it comes to sexual strategy, and the one thing that's always missing is positive male identity. And who's had a stranglehold on that? Fucking Conservative Inc. Conservative Incorporated. Matt Walsh is now the cheerleader for positive male identity. That's fucking horrific. You don't want that. You don't want him telling you, what was it? What's his rants is always stable ones. You shouldn't like video games. You should like popping out more kids and being a good little employee at the job. By the way, H-1B visas are great. It's like, fuck you. No. Unlimited immigration's not a good thing. You know what is a good thing? Watching a samurai 1950s rock star fight cavemen in a wheat field in post-apocalyptic America. That's fucking fun. That's positive. That's good shit. Watching Warhammer. Warhammer's like one of the few things that still has that level of fun, positive male identity with it. And I really wish there was more of it, and I'm doing my best to make sure there is more of it. I'm bringing it to you guys. Is he going to plug his book again? Of course he's going to plug his book again. He's got bills to pay, motherfucker. But like things like Dog Walker, even just fuck files, as like a segue, where I want something I can learn from. There you go. Hey, by the way, here's some fun stories in there too. And you're like, oh, wow, I'd like some more fun stories. Like, here's some more fun stories. Geez, you have some themes in there that reminds me of the stuff that Rollo would talk about. It's like, yeah, see what I mean? Rollo and I have been talking about that for years. All this stuff is out there for the taking. Yeah, hole-in-the-wall video stores that carried all the B movies were the best. And it's not even like, and I don't want to make it think like it's just hate watching bad movies. It's not. It's just enjoying good movies that maybe don't have Hollywood budgets. Like that movie, it was only a $2 million budget. It's a B movie, but it's excellently accomplished. It's like composed very well. Any problems that you have with the film are usually because of like the very, very cheap budget. It's not like The Room where, oh, this movie is so bad, it's good. It's like, no, it's just good. It's good because it's good. Yeah, listening to Marty trying to demonetize it. Yeah, I've moved on. If you guys have noticed too, I've moved T-Rex Fridays from the gaming channel to here. Because mostly I'm just not having fun playing games lately. I'm having more fun with the storytelling. Yeah. Have you ever just tried to enjoy yourselves? Like here, outside of this channel, which I'm doing my best. We'll see how it works. where do you go when you want to watch something entertaining? There's not many places anymore. I was gonna go watch the Hermitcraft guys, but you know they're canceling their fun people because some girl in a Discord channel got offended. I will go watch this. Oh, it's just Daily Wire chastising me for, heaven forbid, liking Warhammer. Fuck you. Don't like Warhammer. Get back to work, Wagey. Fuck you guys, man. Dark Knight Dev, $5 super chat. Do you think Trump really can implement these tariffs and get rid of income tax? It might be good for the economy, but I don't know it'll happen. All right, fuck it. We'll get into that side of things. As a Canadian, I feel like it's my duty to be the torchbearer for American conservatism. If Steven Crowder can do it, if Gavin McInnes can do it, surely I can do it. The tariffs, he absolutely can implement them. That's one of the few things that he can just unilaterally start. And it's fucking depressing, man. This is another reason why I like the entertainment, because some things are just outside of your control. Oh, and I get that too. I talk about that in Frame. I talk about it in Dread especially, where a lot of guys, they had the perfect life. They have like a great career. They have an awesome wife. She's staying thin for them. They're having kids. They're doing all like the great fun stuff that these guys want out of their life. And then 2008 housing crisis happened. Industries, male-dominated industries, are decimated in the 2008 crisis. You get some guy who like runs a construction company, has the perfect life, and through no fault of his own, the market crumbles. His wife leaves him, and like shit's just gone. Didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything wrong. Life's turned upside down. Again, a lot can happen in 5 years, man. A lot can happen. So yeah, he's going to implement those tariffs. Now, how that plays out in Canada, it's so weird. Ugh. Yeah, all right, fuck it. Do just like a quick ad to do a little transition here. We're going to get a little bit serious. This one? Oh, it's this one. I want something nice and quick. Oh yeah, this guy.
I don't usually post pictures of my kids online, but they're infants and you can barely see them, so it's fine. But a YouTuber named Ryan Stone tweeted, showing off the F trophies for clout. So the babies are trophies that I'm showing off. It's perhaps not a surprise that a picture of a proud father would be so upsetting to the sort of man who clearly never had one.
Not that I hate Matt Walsh. I don't have a strong opinion about him, but like what he stands for. He'll read anything from the teleprompter. Those people that are writing that shit on the teleprompter, those are the people that I can't fucking stand. Because they are not your friend. They're stomping you into the ground and trying to make you pretend you're happy about it. Fuck that. So with Canada, for some context, we have the Liberal Party of Canada positions itself as the natural governing party of Canada. They were the first party. They're like our George Washington party, right? I think the original stuff was there. Anyways, lowest popularity in the history of the party, in the history of the country. No government has ever been as unpopular as they are right now. The second least popular one was his dad. How funny is that? And things here have been angry for a while. Like we've gone through, and people forget, like don't realize this. You know how Japan had that lost decade where their entire country just kind of stagnated in the 90s? Canada just had that from 2015 till now. And the tariffs are kind of like the death blow, because 25% of Canada's GDP is about exporting to the States. 2% of America's GDP is exporting to Canada. And there's all this like blah, 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 blah. But like, if we stop trade tomorrow, Canada will hurt. Canada will fucking burn. America will be okay. Some people will be annoyed, but they'll bounce back. And Canada's trying to talk tough because that's the only play that we have left, is the whole nationalist thing where it's like, we're not Americans, we can do this, let's talk tough to them. It's like the nerd, I'll beat you up, and the guy's like, no you won't, I'll fucking kill you. So yeah, I think we need to have some hurt on this one. It'll be good for the economy in the sense that the very few people that are still attached to the way things used to be 20 years ago, like I said, a lot can happen in 5 years, but this is like people still thinking it's 2008 where Canada didn't die off in the 2008 housing crisis. They still think they're there. And this level of pain is, I think, the one thing we need to finally get people to realize, like, maybe us bringing in one of the lizard people, the fiat banking cartel, central banking authorities, as the leader of the country might not be a good idea. So I think it will. A couple things are going to happen. People are going to get very mad. A lot of paychecks are going to go. And then when the government coffers dry up, some people are going to have to get fired. So part of me really hopes that Canada gets its shit together and starts doing what Trump has been doing. Dude, he's firing everybody. Are you useless? Get the fuck out. Are you dropping GDP with third world immigration? All those guys can go. They are running roughshod. There's photos and videos going on right now of this is the funniest one. People show like Walmart and Home Depot at like 8 in the evening on a Saturday. It used to be like the busiest time. And now that it's not all like third world immigrants just in there ruining things, or like the place is just empty. You can go into a Walmart in America now, if I understand correctly, and just like, oh, I'm gonna go buy some staples, go buy some screws. You go in there and it's just like a pleasant experience. People are like, dude, you tell me like this dystopic rat's nest, overpopulated nonsense that I've had for like the last 20 years didn't have to be here, and they could get rid of it like that? I think it's awesome. I think it's great. Everybody's like, oh, my economy's gonna go down. It's like, no, what's gonna happen is people are gonna earn more. Because they have to. I need somebody to work here. Well, all those people that have been shut out. Like, you know that stat where 20% of men are basically excluded from the modern economy? Oh, fuck, you need them now. That's great. So I think ultimately it'll be good. But for everybody who's been complacent in their prosperity, I think they're going to get a real harsh lesson on, like, you got that prosperity at the expense of everybody else you live with. And I think it's time that we had it go, because the alternative is Rhodesia, man. That's our alternative. You turn into Rhodesia, a country that doesn't even exist anymore. So I'm hopeful for it. Having said that, adaptability is the newest thing. So you better, if you aren't weathered against that kind of turmoil, so just like look at every situation that's coming up with immigration being booted out of the states, with DEI programs being shut down, with a whole bunch of government workers being kicked out of the thing. Militaries have to be ramped up. Where can you position yourself to best take advantage of that? And I would argue, if you haven't done that kind of like risk assessment, you should do it now. In America, planes are falling out of the sky. All right. I mean, if you could short airline stocks right now, might be a good time. But it's up to you. What do you think would be a way to survive out of that? And I don't have the answers. I have my own guesses. But in my situation, it's different than yours. Like getting paid in US dollars, absolutely a thing. Talking to immigration, seeing about getting me a green card, joining, getting off the loyalty list and onto the Boston Tea Party group, absolutely. And ideally, I would love it if more guys were speaking up about the steps that they took. And I'm going to try to, like, as I go, explain what I'm doing too. You can see for yourself, for the things that work out. You're like, dude, he did that. It worked out well. He called it. Or he tried that, made a bad call. It didn't affect him too bad, though, so I can take some more risks. Or he did this thing. It didn't work out well. Don't be like Ryan. Fine. Go for it. At the very least, like Andrew Tate taught you. Oh, dude, you can do all the Bugatti buying, human trafficking, war room you want to. But at the end of it, he's still going to jail. They did just confiscate millions and millions from him, and they keep doing it. So was that the path you wanted to take? Probably not. Probably not. I still love... There's this one TikTok. I have it saved. I don't know where to put it yet. It was just some guy who... Day one of being in the war room and Tate's business strategy thing. How much money have you made? It was just like $0. And it was showing the progression over time of him learning email marketing with Tate, of him like spreading Tate's stuff with him, just earning no money. He's realized, I'm just wasting money enriching Tate. Tate bought a Bugatti with everybody's attempt to learn something from him. And I think that's one of the least tasteful things you can do. I remember it was Zach Small, Hunter Drew at the time, or Family Alpha, I don't remember which. He did the same thing as, like, he and I, we red pilled the same fucking week. We both went to that same convention in Florida. And to see the different choices we made, he decided to go full grift like that stuff. And it was great. Like his community would be paying like $100 a month for like masculine excellence. And then he would buy like new cars, new stuff. He'd flex all his new things that he'd bought with all the money that these people donated to him. And very quickly, these guys are like, that's great that you're making out like a bandit, but this isn't working for me. And so it dried up, and then he had to go back. He had to leave this all behind and go back to work in his day job. And here I still am. Yeah, I probably could have made more money if I had some kind of grifty service, but I mean, between the lot of us, at the very least, I've worked my ass off. A lot can happen in 5 years, man. 5 years. And at the very least, you can tell if I'm running my mouth on here. At least what I'm saying is sincere. I could be wrong. I'm usually right. I try not to. If I'm not certain that I'm right, try not to say anything. Unless I'm shitposting. In that case, as long as it's funny. But reputation matters still. I'd argue that's a big thing too. You guys realize, like, yeah, with the sociopath stuff that Apex was talking about before, absolutely don't sociopath Max, not at all, because there is a reputation thing. Yeah, you could be cold, you can be jaded, but you know, building up your trust, it takes years, and the last thing you want to do is lose that overnight because you want to pull some Sigma male sociopath shit. Fuck that. Johnny Trejo, $4.99 super chat. 7-string samurai. 6-string samurai, by the way, had the vibes of Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Love the stuff and can't wait for the dog walker. Oh, dude, thank you so much. And yes, because technically Rodriguez and Tarantino, they're trying to bring back, like, you're talking about their stuff like what's the like the blaxploitation era, the drive-in movie stuff. It was just literally that crazy weird stuff that was fucking entertaining as hell. Male sensibilities. There's, like, what's more of a male sensibility form of entertainment than having to fight off zombies at a military base with a M16 for a fake leg? You know what I mean? Shit like that. It's really funny. Really good. Awesome. And yeah, my plan for the next 5 years is to contribute to that as much as possible and just ride that thing till the wheels fall off while still keeping that core, that, you know, sexual strategy, learning, keep this stuff in there. Yeah, we'll see. And then Free Gender, $5 super chat. I can't wait till Ben Shapiro or Michael Knowles or Matt Walsh gets divorced. I mean, it's just a matter of time for a lot of them. They might even be divorced now. You never know. They probably won't say anything because Steven Crowder, he did the thing and he got nuked. Gavin McInnes, I think his wife, that's his wife's second husband. A lot of these guys have shitty lives, or like lives that are turning in shitty. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but the thing that you know is since they're making their personal life their brand, like the Be Like Me at Work for Me, shit goes down, you find out. Yeah, Brittany Venti, same thing. She's like, I have to sanitize my internet because I want to get married and have kids. It was like, now all of a sudden she's like hoping that nobody remembers how much of a bitch she was on the internet for like 15 years. We all make our choices, right? Reputation matters. Oh, there's so much chat in here. I'm trying to get caught up, but there's not a lot. Just don't go full Robert Kiyosaki. Oh, yeah, that's right. He got divorced, too. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, Kiyosaki, his big thing was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Which was just kind of one of those grifty books anyway. It got really popular, but I'd argue as a consumer base, men have gotten a lot more savvy from the 2000s when that one came out, and we don't really just fall for listicles and drink 10 glasses of water a day and hustle culture shit. I think everybody's realized, like, that's kind of bullshit. So Dante with 125 Filipino pesos. Here's to the choices men's make. I'll have my notes and my own takes, but whatever you do, it's helpful to you or self-sabotaging. Y'all do you. Cheers. Aw. And YouTube's telling me to celebrate the 5th super on a live stream. Venti was such a basket case. I mean, she was. And don't get me wrong, I still have like a soft spot for her. Just because of that interview she did with Roosh on Andy Worski, where she's like, look, I just bake cookies. I'm traditional. And Roosh is sitting there yelling at a little girl. And I'm like, my brother in Christ. You're supposed to be the godfather of game. And a couple shit tests from a fucking chick online is enough to send you into a tailspin. It's like not helping the cause at all. Yeah. They probably pay their wives to be quiet and stay put. Probably. Robert's promoting crypto. One more scam incoming. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying. I get crypto's the thing right now, but so sports gambling. To this day, I still think crypto is mostly a last sucker activity. If you guys don't know, I think it's called last sucker. The idea of these is like a very zero-sum investment strategy where more people invest to a thing, which increases price. And the last guy to take his money out is the one who loses all the money. And then taking it out early is how you make it. Although I'm also of the mind that crypto is mostly a hedge. Like it's shorting the American economy. The worse the American economy does, the better crypto does. When the economy goes well, people don't get crypto anymore. And I'm waiting. The day you see that you can buy a pack of gum with crypto, I think that's the day where it becomes like, everybody's like, oh, it's the biggest thing now. It's like, I think that's when it becomes the biggest thing now, because then instead of just a long-term store of value and a speculative asset, it becomes an actual, like it has a use. There's an actual use case for it, and other than just like storing money anonymously. I wish Rolo wasn't so closely associated with Kiyosaki, but whatever. Yeah. I mean, I don't have like a strong opinion on that one way or another. I don't know Kiyosaki well enough. I'm not a big fan of the business side of that thing, but I mean, at the same time, Kiyosaki's got millions and I don't. So who am I to say? But then again, so does Patrick Bet David. He's the worst human being you've ever met. So whatever. But I mean, Rolo's in Vegas and he's doing Vegas things and he's been doing promos his whole life. Of course he's going to be associated with these people. He's been smart enough to carve out his own success in spite of being surrounded by snakes and jackals, so you got to give him credit there. Even if it's people that I wouldn't personally associate with it, he navigates it well enough. You'll get your occasional ADJ flip out and it's harassing your daughter kind of shit, but You can gamble on Royal Rumble? Oh my god. Tell me that's not true. Tell me you can't actually gamble on WWF. And I refuse to call it WWE. Fuck that. It's WWF. Fuck those pandas. Actually betting on a wrestling event. That is like, I know it's scripted. All right. It's like betting on the end of Avengers. I'm going to bet on Iron Man. It's like, Jesus. That's when you know there's just too much money. Like, there's too much money out there. A lot of the problems we have is there's too much money. It's too much debt. But again, how do you position yourself on there? If you have the finances to start an online gambling enterprise, if you're willing to take on the risk, I'd say go for it. If you have some quant mathematical genius who can you can do this, so you can carve 2% out of all the transaction on this gambling thing, go for it, man. It's on today? Oh, I'm kind of tempted. I saw it was Netflix or Amazon. Like, wrestling was back. I actually watched a SmackDown. I haven't watched one in like forever. I was angry too, man. Like, what did they do to my wrestling? That used to be so much fun. The one thing I notice now is when they have like the gaps in between matches, it used to be like promos. You'd have like Repo Man yelling at Coco Beware, and it was like all very pumped up and the shredded guitar music going. It was very amped. And I watch it now, and when you have those promos in the middle, it's just like, it reminds me of like a character select screen. It's got smooth jazz, and all the wrestlers are all pretty now, and they're all just looking over Cody Rhodes. And then some Japanese guy. I should learn more about Japanese wrestling, but I didn't. But they do look pretty good. And I was like, what the hell is this? This isn't getting me pumped. This is like a Xanax. This is Xanax. It's like a promo thing. Yeah, I'm learning all the wrestlers, but where's the fun? Where's the excitement? Where's the action? Where's the oomph? I just wasn't a fan of it. And then the matches, everybody's like trying to be a Mexican luchador. Like it was like having a Bret Hart and a Mr. Perfect, like the technical wrestlers, those were good. But you also had like your Hacksaw Jim Duggans, your Roddy Pipers, the guys who were like able to tell a story and show you the character's personality through it. Like, I know it's a small thing and I've talked about it before, but Roddy Piper, one of my favorite things about his gimmick was when they'd be like knocked down and they have like a little pause in the action, and the guy would be lying down, he'd look over, he'd be like this. The guy would look up and he'd just go I don't know why. Every time he did that, it made me laugh. Or Ric Flair. He'd always sit there. He's like, oh, please don't hit me. I give up. I give up. And then the guy shows pity on him and then he punches him in the nuts. Like, the way he fought was like a villainous way of fighting. Very sneaky, very, he'd rake the back and he'd always show pain and you're like, oh my God. Hogan, when he did that thing where he just start going like, oh, you can't hurt me now. I got the power of America going through me. Like, stuff like that. I miss that. The theatrics of it. Everybody's trying to be like the Raid now. this is going to be great. It's going to be 3 backflips off the back turnbuckle and hit you with a drop kick in the head. I'm like, that's technically very awesome. But what the fuck does that have to do with your character? You know, they don't tell stories anymore. Maybe that's the new thing. Maybe I'm out of touch. Maybe nobody wants stories anymore. They just want to watch a lot of jangling keys dancing. That'd be fucking horrible. Free gender, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Candace Owens loves her husband so much she didn't take his last name. Also uses pictures of herself from her 20s in her thumbnail. Yeah, you see what I mean, though? So Dante's right. He's like, who cares? It's not about caring about the drama of it. It's the meta. Like, I get what he's doing there. She positions herself as like some traditional conservative black woman. She's got herself a nice white husband, but okay, talk is cheap. I'm the greatest traditional woman ever. It's like, yeah, you didn't even take your husband's last name. Is it? And it's kind of good to draw attention to this stuff, not because we need to care and be all about the gossip, but just to be aware how fake, gay, and retarded everything is. I'm stealing that one from John Fitch. It's a wonderful line. The FGR of life is in there. And I'm not even saying kayfabe. Kayfabe is fun. Elizabeth and Macho Man fighting Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania is kayfabe. Watching Candace Owens refuse to take her husband's name because it'll affect her branding. That's just FGR, man. And then we got Old Student, SARS. Oh, is that Saudi Arabian? It is. 50 SARs. $50 and 1 ruples? I'm just going to call them Scoobies. Saudi Arabian Scoobies, Old Student. Planning to start a business of making nightstand furniture to keep red pill books nearby for easy access. Can you give me again a list of all your books to make sure they fit? I'll become so rich. Oh, dude. More than happy to. To be fair, if this is a serious thing that you want to start, books have a few different sizes. 6x9 is the modern standard, and then 5x8 is what they call a trade paperback. Trade paperback. There's 4x7, which is like those airport cheap throwaway knockoff ones. As long as you make it for that. But yeah, a list of all the red pill books, of all my books. I actually have a lot. Who'd have thunk? Praxeology, volumes 1, 2, and 3. There's Red, there's Frame, and there's Field Reports. It's going to be a volume 4 in the summer. For the fiction stuff, there is Fuck Files, and then there is The Dog Walker, which will all be out and in there by middle of February. Is that it? Anything? Nope, that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 books, soon to be 6. Which I think is good, because I think Rational Mail, Rollo only has 5 Rational Mails second year. I keep forgetting, because I haven't read Religion. You'd think I would have read that one, but it's never been like a part of it that interests me. Oh, there we go. So you got Rational Mail, Preventative Medicine, Positive Masculinity, Religion. 4. And then the Player's Handbook, so 5. So Rollo and I are tied. Yeah. Fucking nailed it. Free gender, $2. Ryan nailed it. Her actions is the message. Yeah, and to be fair, this is like the one takeaway I would love for all of you guys to take from everything, from my content, from everybody's content. Even if it's shit you don't want to see. I hate Daily Wire as much as the next guy, but at least understanding like that Matt Walsh is completely disingenuous. Clary has a great video on that one too. Like, he just reads what they tell him on the teleprompter. His opinions change from one week to the next. One week he'll tell you video games are for losers and real men need to just work harder and earn more money and pop out more Catholics. And then the next week he'll tell you the woke mob and the transgendered people are coming after Warhammer and you need to fight against it. It's just like, he just wants to rile you up, because while you're riled up, you're using your limbic brain, you're emotional. And when you're emotional, you'll pay attention to him because you're not thinking. And if you take nothing else from this, like, you got to think. You have to think. When somebody's trying to tap into your limbic brain, there's a reason they want something from you. What is it? What is it you want from me? And more often than not, it's just, I want as much of your attention as I'll give you. And that goes for like that asshole arguing with you on the internet too. Every single one of them. He doesn't want to be proven right. He doesn't want to find the truth. He wants to steal as much of your time as possible because he is bored. He wants a friend. He just wants to feel something in his life, and he wants it for free. Every guy, just come and debate me. Fuck you. Who are you? Yeah, well, we debate. No, I'm not debating. I think your thing is nonsense. And I'm not going to sit here and debate. What's the debate going to be on? Whether I'm an asshole or not? I can already say yes. Fuck off. Clary's trying to feel. That is the one thing. Clary. I was like, I'll catch up to Clary, but then I look at his, dude. I look at his collection. He's got. Will it let me start from the beginning, or will it have to start at the end? 23. Now, they're not all books. Sometimes they're like mini books in that. So he's got like the Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. Which, I don't know much about it. Worthless Degrees, The Indispensable Guide to Choosing the Right Major, The Best of Captain Capitalism, Captain's Quarterly, The Curse of the High IQ, Menu, The Book of Numbers, Privatizing Governments. What the fuck? He's got some shit that I've never even heard of before. What is this? Okay, so like this one's like a 24-page book. It's not a book. It's just like a little Kindle thing. Oh, so he was just putting like essays up there directly. That's interesting. I wonder if like just Kindle short stories would be there. Boris the Shitting Buffalo, Worthless, Behind the Housing Crash, Love Letters to the Left, Sanity is the Future of Wealth, Captain Capitalism, Top Shelf, Renaissance Man, Poor Richard's Retirement, Enjoy the Decline, and Bachelor Pad Economics. To this date, though, those are my two favorite of Clary's. Enjoy the Decline, Bachelor Pad Economics. I like those. Curse the High IQ. I wasn't as interested in that because, like, I've read it, but only because I kind of have I take a very anti-intellectual standard as my response to the Curse of the High IQ, and his is more just like leaning into it. Book of Numbers. Again, it's all like numbers about dating and that stuff, and I'm kind of over that. Like, I'm past that point, but I did enjoy it as a read. World Without Men as well. But to date, yeah, Bachelor Pad Economics and Enjoy the Decline. And I tell him this too. It's like, dude, your covers kill me. Fucking kill me. Now that he's getting other people to do his covers for him, like Rolo doing his Book of Numbers, it's probably my favorite cover out of all of them. The World of Men's number 2. But yeah, the ones where it's him, where it's just like, it looks like the old school, like, demotivation posters. I was like, oh, dude. If he ever hired me, I'd fix all that shit for him. Could you release Praxeology in a college book style? That's Derek with $2. What is a college book style? Here, Derek, talk in chat. Walk me through, what type of book is that, a college book style? You mean like a hardcover 12 by 11 textbook? Like, I don't know what that means. Crom, $5.07 super chat. Ooh. We need more red-pilled parenting books. The only good material I've read on that is from Archwinger and a single chapter in his Positive Masculinity. It's a good question. Do we? I don't, like, it'd be good. It's a thing that nobody really writes on. But it's what I think you're going to find if somebody does an adequate one, that any red-pilled parenting is going to be no different than any other parenting or any other, like, book that we have. It really is just about frame, setting the example, being consistent. Not having one-itis, like the True Datness example that I used where the guy tried to buy his daughter's affection in that. It's no different than, like, if he was dating a girl. The same approach there of being more aloof in that. I'm not sure when Archwinger's book is coming out, though, but I'm looking forward to it. He sounds like he's doing it as, like, a checklist. Like, you know, everybody's doing Manosphere books, I'm going to do mine. But I've always liked his writing, so it'll probably be pretty. Anyways, what are we on for time here? I want to make sure I don't go over. We are a little bit over. So I'm going to do one more ad, and we're going to wind this thing down and then look into Rule Zero stuff coming up.
Do you like kung fu? Do you like hardcore action, big explosions, and 7-foot-tall aliens? How about a gritty crime drama or a buddy cop movie? Do you want witty one-liners, laser guns, a double cross, gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? 80s karate fights, fast car chases, and 90 minutes of a great time? Well, I have 4 words for you. I come in peace.
I hate new movies. Can't watch new movies. That's still the most popular video on that channel. I never would have thought I Come in Peace would have been the big deal that it was. It was pretty good. Okay, so yeah, Derek, €2 super chat. Yes, A3 with note space. I'll make a note of it. I don't know if I have the time for it because, like, I'm not gonna lie. Even though it just seems like I'm doing less videos than that, I'm actually busier than I've ever been. Recording an audiobook is a slog on its own, but the fact that I have to do 2, like right now, and possibly update the 3rd one here, that's a huge amount of work. Getting all of these, like, it basically took me a month to get all the books properly redone, hardcovers added, paperbacks fixed, and that. So yeah, the A3 college book style, it's I'll consider it as time permits. I don't expect there to be a large industry for it either, Sue. Well, no, you know what, Anonymous, like, bro, just maintain a notepad. It's not about that. It's if you guys really want one and there's enough of you that are willing to buy one, then, like, why wouldn't I do that? It's the same as an audiobook. Oh, you should like the paperback and the art style from it. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's got great stuff. Like just random pages. Like, it's fucking beautiful. The way it's made up is a very simple, pulpy type story. Like, everything here is like a conscious choice. And like, I get it. It's just like, oh, well, the W does a different thing. It's like, no, just everything. Every part of it is made to be aesthetic, look good, to be fun. You think that one's great? Where'd it go? My own fucking book? Oh, there it is. Get to an end of a chapter here. So, like, just little choices. I don't know if you can see this, but no, you can't. It'll be too bright. But there's a that little thing in the corner there. That's actually there for a specific reason. Just like even the headers. I actually put like an insane amount of effort into that because I want the entire thing, every detail to be accounted for. Yeah, did you change the mics midway through an audiobook again? No. I ordered it before, hoping it would get here in time, but it didn't. So I had to finish the audiobook with the SM57. I at the very least know that much. Don't change your studio, don't change your equipment during your recording days. You want everything to be consistent, which makes the mastering process that much easier. So the new books will be with the new mic, but I still have to play around to get this just where I want it because it's still, like, this puppy is so sensitive, man. It's so sensitive, and there's a lot of things I have to fiddle around with it. So we'll see. What I would love if I could get some kind of way of, like, narrowing the scope of it. Starting to regret not getting a shotgun mic for that, but we'll have to see. Anyways, I like when it's a new chapter and you can tell it's the next day because there's more pep in his reading. Yeah, that's the shitty thing about recording audiobooks, because, like, as you read, by the time you get to I can only do maybe 3 hours at a time, because by the end of the 3rd hour, your voice starts to thin out. And some of the best advice I got for recording is don't end days on chapters. End it like in the middle of a chapter. That way it kind of blurs in there a bit, and so it seems more seamless. You have to sit too still with a shotgun mic, not worth it in a controlled environment. Yeah, that's what I was told. It was that, and in smaller rooms like this, sometimes the phase can be all out, so I went with the plain condenser. But I still got the 57. The one thing I loved about this puppy when I was recording with you guys is I could just beat the shit. I could move around, I could yell, I could do normal, and it was like a workhorse. It handled all of it. With this one, it's kind of requiring me to be more stable and less animated with how I speak. But ideally, it should make a more warmer radio type voice, so hopefully increases the experience on your end to make it more enjoyable. David and film, they blend the shotgun to the lav feed. Really? Blending a shotgun and a lav mic together. I didn't know you could do that with mics. That's actually kind of neat. For ASMR or singing? No, well, shotgun mics are just boom. They're like boom mics. And the ones they always have hanging up above, they're just meant to have like a very narrow tone of voice they can pick up. The idea is you don't pick up anything outside of you, which is tempting, but yeah, there's like a whole science behind it. I've actually put an inordinate amount of time into trying to get the audio experience for you guys, because, like, you can fuck around with video. I can have a potato quality. I can blur all of this. But if your audio sucks, completely kills anybody's enjoyment for this. Anyways, I'm already going over time here. Rule 0 starting in a bit. Jack's doing it. It's going to be on some science of bodybuilding and stuff like that. I'll try to make it in. I have to do some mastering work here when I'm done. But since we're on this, do this proper. Is he really going to do 3 books at once? Yes, because I'm a workaholic and I'm stupid. If you haven't gotten it yet and you're here for positive male identity and male sexual strategy only, you have Praxeology Volume Field Reports. Everything from soup to nuts. Girls with their ideas on how to cheat, people swapping notes. It's literally just guys swapping notes. The Reader's Digest. It's fun. It's engaging. And you will learn something. Like a lot of what people do to bullshit ourselves is in there. And you see it reflected in the field reports. And if you can't see it, I'll spell it out for you. The audiobook is being finished hopefully this weekend. Usually it's like 5 days now for the audiobook to approve. So you should be able to see it by next week. Links in the description. Go check that one out there. We also got the paperback and the hardcovers, which are out now. And just released today, Fuck Files, 3rd edition. Both in paperback, in Kindle, and in the new hardcover. That's infotainment. That's for you. I like some red pilled stuff, but I also want to be entertained because the dry reading of just field reports is too much for me. Bam. Soup's too hot, soup's too cold. And if you're just here like, dude, I know this stuff. I know what I'm doing. I just want to have some fun. I want to sit down. I want to relax. I've been carving out some success. Kids are driving me nuts. Wife is driving me nuts. I just want to sit down and enjoy something. That's where the Dog Walker comes in. That's coming out in 2 weeks. Pre-orders are now. I do have one ask. Pre-orders. If you haven't, get it. Get it now. Here, put a link in the thing. Where's my thing? My goal is to outdo the pre-orders for Fuck File. Well, that's good to know, Sluggo. Hated the old cover, and now that it's gone, I immediately prefer it. You son of a bitch. That's fine. I mean, your old copies are still going to be out there, and I've still got a few of them here. It's the thing. Books evolve over time. So that's Dog Walker. Oh yeah, Garage with the special cover was pretty nice too. That one's entertainment. So the Fuck Files had 168 pre-orders for it, which is the most successful book launch I've had, which is funny because it was the first one. My goal is to get Dog Walker up to that level. It's getting there. It's about a third of the way yet, and now is going to be the big push. So dude, if you don't want to get the paperback, you just want to get the Kindle or the Kobo, I would say go for it now. Pre-orders are in there now. You will enjoy it. I guarantee you. I've sent out about 13 copies to friends and other people, and I've been getting the feedback from it, and you guys all really are liking it. Not just because you like me, but because it's actually a good written book. And I think Nick said it best during our first meeting after we read the finished manuscript, when he said, so what do you think? He goes, fuck you. What? Fuck you. Because I'm like, what do you mean? I've read like 1,000 books, more than any man should have read in my career, training people, teaching them how to write, teaching them English, teaching them storytelling, all this stuff. It has no business being as good as it is as a first-time fiction writer. And I'm like, oh, thank you very much, sir. Yes, and that's the Dynamap updates on there too. I know, Santiago. Hearing words back from the guys who have been reading it so far, they're like, hey, did you do that part on purpose? Is that thematic thing you put in there? Is that symbol actually meaning what I think it means? And I'm like, yeah, you're catching them all. Well, I mean, you're catching half. That's the thing I think you'll love from it. If you're if you're a smarter guy and you're so used to entertainment that treats you like an idiot, I think you're going to love this. It sets things up that pay off later. A lot of Chekhov guns. The themes are very subtle. You'll start to see, oh my God, the bed sheets are a symbol for this, and you catch on to it. The dialogue is good. It's not stilted. It's actually conversational dialogue. It makes sense. It's like Quentin Tarantino. We're like, oh, that's how people would talk. The situations that sometimes happen in there, some of them are just fucking funny. I've had 2 people now say that they actually put the book down to laugh out loud. I never laugh out loud when I'm reading. I'm like, that's awesome. Amazon only shows the Kindle for Dog Walker. Well, the Kindle's because it's the pre-orders. Pre-orders will only do Kindle. They don't let you pre-order the paperback or the hardcover. So if you're waiting for the paperback, just wait till the 14th. That's when they come out. Anyways, I think I've done enough. I think I've done enough pitching. Let's go see Jack on Rule Zero. You know, have some fun. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next week.
'79T 2458 Learning Corp. Little Red Riding Hood. Take 1.
40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense?
Where they say there are Indian people pooping on our beach.
It's a spool of wire. 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone.